It's a hearty hello and welcome to you from the Iceplex in Raleigh, North Carolina. Hi there, everybody. I'm Drew Blevins, joined by Brett Galt, as we bring to you this radio broadcast, another edition of NC State Hockey, as the Wolfpack are set to take on the Charlotte 49ers here tonight in an ACCHL points contest. This is a big game for both of these teams, as these two teams are separated by 1 point in the standings. Brett, NC State here on Breast Cancer Awareness Night, wearing the pink uniforms in front of a solid home crowd once again. A lot of storylines going into this game, but what are your general impressions?
Well, first of all, we got everybody back since, October 1st?
October 1st. So
there's going to be no more excuses. Everybody's healthy. Everybody's ready to play. We tied them earlier in the season 2-2, and we'll just have to see if they can penetrate early, play a lot faster than Charlotte, and hopefully get out the W here tonight.
Well, let's go ahead and look at the ACCHL standings as they are right now. The number 25 Virginia Cavaliers are top of the ACC. The Wake Forest Demon Deacons, who are actually ranked 22nd, are right behind them. George Washington with 11 points is in third. James Madison with 11 points is in fourth. The Charlotte 49ers, 10 points, are in fifth. NC State hot on their tails with 9 points. The North Carolina Tar Heels also have 9. The St. Joseph's Red Hawks occupying the final available playoff spot, as they have 6 standings points. Elon not too far behind them, as they're making a push for the playoffs as well here late. Brett, this is going to be one of those hockey games. NC State, with their full offensive repertoire fully intact, going up against a fast and hard-hitting Charlotte team. Offense versus physicality seems to be the name of the game when it comes to analyzing this one.
Yeah, they got to get up to a fast start. They got to play faster, like I just mentioned. They can't look up to because they have Wake Forest tomorrow and then Carolina against Thursday. So they can't look ahead. They got to look now. And like I said, everybody's back, so they should be able to play fast and hopefully get the W here.
Well, let's go ahead and look at the keys to the game, as we are moments away from puck drop here in Raleigh. First of all, we'll start off with the NC State Wolfpack. Calvin Stone gets the start in net. My first key to the game is that the goaltending must be good. Calvin Stone's got to be on the top of his game. Had a good weekend last time he was out of the Lynchburg, Virginia, for the Liberty Showcase. The other thing for NC State is I think they've got to get penetration into the slot. If they can get a net front presence onto Daniel Ritter, they should be able to have a successful night offensively, considering they've got everybody back and healthy. For the Charlotte 49ers, it's all about shots onto Calvin Stone. If you know that there's a weak point in this NC State roster, you want to go ahead and get shots onto Calvin Stone early. He has not had a good first period really all season long. And the other thing is, you've got to go out and play your game. You've got to out-hit NC State. If you're able to out-hit the Wolfpack, you're going to be able to really start to open up lanes. NC State shied away a little bit from Clemson here at home the last time they were out on the ice, but certainly Charlotte wants to go out and start to lay body checks as early and as quickly as possible.
I think it comes down to Calvin Stone because he kind of struggles sometimes with the rebounds, and if he can hold the puck and grab it, I think that's the key, that Charlotte doesn't get any rebound shots.
Well, the other thing for NC State to remember is that this is not the only game that they have this weekend, as you alluded to. The Wake Forest Demon Deacons will host them tomorrow in a matinee contest at 4 p.m. That's a huge game. If NC State wins and they're able to beat Elon on the 10th of February, they're going to end up no lower than second place. If Wake Forest wins and the Demon Deacons are undefeated at home with only 3 losses on the season, then Wake Forest is going to finish no lower than second. Everybody's still chasing the Virginia Cavaliers, who are 7-0-1 with 1 more game left to play in conference. Of course, we would like to remind you, February 2nd, the NC State Wolfpack will go to war with the North Carolina Tar Heels at PNC Arena. You can catch that one live right here on PackTV. And we're certainly looking forward to bringing that one to you. Brett Galt, you'll actually be doing correspondence work, and that'll be exciting. NC State rounds out non-conference play against Wilmington on February 4th at 4:30. And then the 10th of February, it will end the regular season against the Elon Phoenix. Brett, a lot of storylines for this hockey game, but what is your top thing to watch for today?
Getting off to the fast start. I mean, like we've said probably 1,000 times already in the broadcast, they have everybody back. So there's no excuses to playing poorly. They're going to have to be crisp with their passes, get forward. If they get forward and get shots early, I think they're going to take the win here tonight.
I think my biggest storyline is for the first time since Charlotte joined the ACCHL, they're actually ahead of NC State in the standings. And if you're looking right now, the biggest goal of the season, in my opinion, is the one that Danny Fredenberg scored. That was to tie the game against the 49ers with 1:57 to go. The last time these two teams got together back November 4th of last year, that was at the Extreme Ice Center. Fredenberg's goal tied it up 2-2. Overtime couldn't settle it. That's the one tie on the NC State resume. Charlotte comes into the hockey game with a record of 8-5-3, 4-2-2 in the ACC. This is their final contest that counts until they play Wake Forest tomorrow, so they'll have all of their standings set and ready to go. The NC State Wolfpack come in with an overall record of 8-8-1, 4-1-1 in the ACCHL. That's good enough for 6th place, and they'll play Wake Forest tomorrow, and then they'll have Elon on the 10th. That will be their final game. Starting lineups for tonight, Calvin Stone in net. The defenseman for NC State will be Reed Farrott and number 14, Chris Wing. The forwards, it's the white line back intact. Sam Banashevitz and Luis Jimenez outside of Will Bieberdorf, who is making his first start and looking to play his first complete game since all the way back on October 1st. It will be in net for the Charlotte 49ers, Daniel Ritter. Kyle Gelletley will be back on defense alongside of Ryan Burke, and the starting forwards Andrew Miller, Thomas Gilmartin, and Philip Arnold. Niners off to a quick start and a quick snap wrister. It's deflected into the corner boards by Calvin Stone. Heads off back into the corner. That's where Bieberdorf takes it. Back behind the goal line, he dips a pass over for Chris Wing. Hangs up on the board. Charlotte takes it, dumps it right back into the zone. Taken by Reed Farrott as he goes up the left wing side for Jimenez. Fires a pass all the way across for Banashevitz. Cross-ice pass. He crosses the blue line. Right wing side. Dekes in. Good defense by Ryan Burke. The bouncing puck is taken back by the Niners. Up at their own blue line. Pass goes across the ice once again. This is Thomas Gilmartin, the former East Coast Eagles in the USPHL. Used to playing in this area, but not necessarily at this rink. Bouncer in the slot area, taken back by NC State. The Wolfpack are in their pink uniforms here on Breast Cancer Awareness Night. Red block S across the crest, black numericals. They're actually wearing their white socks with their black breezers. Bouncing puck rolls in onto Calvin Stone. Rebound, there is none, but immediately in and causing some disturbances, a couple of forwards for the 49ers. Brett, what were your first impressions of the first 55 seconds?
I like how we start off fast right there, and then like we mentioned earlier in the pregame, Calvin Stone had to corral the rebounds and actually had no rebounds, and that's exactly what he did there. We're already starting to see a little tussle between the two teams.
Well, 19:05 to go here, first period. The Charlotte 49ers are in their new black uniforms, white numericals, the Charlotte 49er crest, the arm and the pick, the crest. Off of the face-off, NC State's Ryan Kinney got a good jump off of it. And we are going to see the game's first penalty, I believe, tripping as Kinney was halted back at his defensive blue line as he got a really good break off of the face-off. First penalty of the game goes against Charlotte. And it'll go against number 67, Zach Usinger. Nope, pardon me. Instead will be James Dinkler, the defenseman. I was about to say Usinger wasn't the defenseman who was back there. Dinkler off for tripping, 18:55 to go first period. NC State onto the power play here quickly. This is Ryan Linsmeyer at the point off the face-off win to Alvin Zetti as they'll work on the right side boards. Down low for Jack McDonald. He's shouldered off by Kyle Gelletley. Rolls back behind. Ryan Kinney onto it in the left side corner. Battle for the puck. NC State has numbers. Kinney using his longest reach to get into the puck. He goes right back behind the net with it. This is Jack McDonald as he curls. Sends it right back up the left side boards. It's intercepted. Here come the Niners. They could have numbers if they hurry, and they're going to opt to kill time, just dumping it all the way down. Calvin Stone will have to put it on a tee. State will skate it right back up at their defensive blue line. Ryan Linsmeyer, good speed, but he's dispossessed. Niners can't get it out first try. Instead, it'll be corralled by Eric White. He can't get it out. NC State doing yeoman's work to hold the blue line, and they do. Ryan Linsmeyer reaching out with his backhand, and finally a second effort from White as he flips it over to his teammate, Greg Driscoll, who finishes the job all the way down. Brett, so far, not an excellent power play for NC State. They really just hadn't been able to get a good possession.
No, they haven't even got a shot off. With a minute to go, you would at least want a couple shots to give a couple opportunities to score, but there's one right there as it trickles off, but Charlotte looks like they're going to.
State has their top unit right back out there once again as Jimenez starts to set up the possession. He walks up to the point, right up Broadway, passes across the way, and NC State sets up. Banashevitz into the left side corner, sends it right back up to the top. Walking the line, now over for Luis Jimenez. He goes across for Banashevitz once again. Snap! Brister misses wide of the net.
That was a little better there. They're spacing out now.
Jimenez holding at the point once again, sends a wrist shot through traffic. Ritter gets a glove to it. Bouncing puck sent right back up the boards, chased down by Aquila. He can't get it out. Bieberdorf takes it, gives off for Farhat, sends a wrister, blocked immediately by a couple of defensive sticks, and jumping out of his goal crease to cover and get a whistle is Daniel Ritter with 8 seconds to go on the Dinkler penalty. Ritter certainly channeling the history of goaltenders with the old-style brown leg pads, blocker, and glove. That used to be the color of all equipment, but certainly stands out here on the ice.
Oh, yeah, it does. He's got some nice hair, too, in the background there. So he's definitely making himself noticeable, and he's had a couple good saves early on.
Face-off won by the Wolfpack. Owen Drugan sends a pass, tried to get it to John Kochlenberg, but he couldn't corral it, and that should all but do it for the power play. Dinkler out of the box. NC State 0 for 1 on their special teams opportunity. Perfect penalty kill so far for the Niners.
Kind of a disappointing penalty there, too. They got a couple good shots, but they were easily handled.
Well, and certainly one of the critical things for the 49ers is to stop NC State from working on special teams. State has one of the better penalty kills in all the ACCHL. In fact, they're second in percentage, and they're third in executing on power plays. Big kill. Niners set up possession inside of their offensive zone. Philip Arnold takes it into the slot on the turnover, shoots one, Stone to the save. The rebound opportunity got through his legs, but it's taken back by the Niners, and they'll drift off into the right-hand side corner. Gilmartin passes in toward the front, a bouncing puck. Arnold takes it on his backhand, lifts one, and we'll see a whistle here from the official down at the goal line. I'm not sure what he's signaling. He may have gotten a hand pass called. That's exactly what it was. NC State catches a break. Philip Arnold, who was forever coached by his dad, John, in the Raleigh Youth Hockey Association, doing what he's always done, nose for the net, low slot area, and nearly had himself a goal on a couple of occasions there.
I might be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure I went to middle school with Philip Arnold. I'm serious. The name sounds very familiar.
Dumped into the zone as Reed Farhat goes back behind the net. NC State lays it right back up the boards. Quickly shot back in. Stone collects it in his goal stick, plays it along. Back behind the cage. NC State takes it. Dan Weaver comes up the right wing side boards. Immediately hit. James Dinkler takes the puck and wrists it back into the zone. State will set up shop. This is Wing. Goes across the way. Good breakout pass. Touched along. Dan Weaver's going to take it up at center. Drops it back. Eric Johnston dumps it into the zone. It'll be chased by Eric Webb. Can't get it. Held by Chris Wing at the line. Slap shot through traffic. Blocked down by Dinkler. Can't get it out. Rolling puck at the blue line. Taken back here by the 49ers. Chase Weirden was the one who had possession of it, but he lost it crossing the blue line. Slammed back in by the 49ers. Stone will set it back up on a tee directly behind the cage. Wing breaks it up. Cross-ice pass. Weaver goes across to Eric Johnston. Backhands it into the zone. Corralled by Kyle Gelletley, and he'll hold. Stayed on the line change. Gelletley takes a couple of steps, fires a D-to-D pass. Bounced up the boards, chopped down by Ryan Kinney, but the Niners get it on a second effort, dumped back in. So far, Charlotte just content to get the puck deep, and this is something they'll do to you. They like to set up their offense before they ever take a shot. Kinney sends it right back up the boards, a bouncing puck, and he was knocked around by a couple of defensemen. Ryan Burke primarily skated right back into the zone. Aquila causing some disturbance. Nearly intercepted pass as Sean Gilbin got a stick to it, but it's NC State taking it back in their offensive zone. Quickly shot onto Toland, crossing the blue line, and he'll swallow it in the crest of the uniform, getting the whistle.
I like that shot right there. I know it was easily handled by the goalie, but I like testing him early on to see if he's going to let any slip by him.
Well, the last time these two teams got together was actually Michael Balzano who was in the net. Balzano didn't play a poor game. More about him in a second. This is Usinger. Skates it in toward the slot. One-timer opportunity, and Calvin Stone stands tall deep in his goal crease, albeit, but makes a huge save and an excellent opportunity for the Niners. Usinger, with just so much speed, is able to get behind the defense, fires a pass back into the slot area, and Calvin Stone's ready for it.
Yeah, I don't even know if he knew that he stopped that one there for a second. He couldn't find it, but that's what we were talking about early, is he's got to stop those, and he did a good one on that one.
Turnover by Davis Hudson. Bouncing puck off as a slap shot into the goal crease, and Calvin Stone fish flops around to find it. This is not the start NC State wanted, and I think sort of the kiss of death. Mike Gazzillo told me he was confident in the practice that they had last night. And NC State has had a lot of good Thursday practices, and I've had the chance to see a few of them, but anytime they seem to have a good practice, it's been a slow start for the first 10 minutes of the hockey game. 14-17 remaining first period, still scoreless between the Wolfpack and the 49ers. Banashevitz gets the puck on a fly pass off the faceoff. He's one-on-one. Wrist shot. Daniel Toland with a stop as he stops him short side leg pad. No rebound. Dan Ritter standing tall once again. Ritter also not from too terribly far away, actually did a tour of duty with Team Pepsi, which actually coincidentally played right out of this rink here at the Iceplex. David Laszlo was the head coach of that team. Rolled in. Awkward bouncing puck as it wasn't a strong shot for Matt Valillo, but NC State's going to establish offensive possession. Jimenez back up to the top for Valillo. He gets crowded with Banishevitz. Double team of the puck. Niners take it. Pass up for Usinger. Just rolls too far off of his stick. Banishevitz at the red line. Backhands this one in. Cross corner. Into the right side corner. Niners will take it. Up off the glass. Pass intended for Driscoll, intercepted by Banishevitz. Good finishing body check laid by Jimenez as he gets his body into Kevin Hill. Turned over. NC State survives the chance from the Niners. Andrew Kristoff crossing his own blue line with speed. Here he goes. Drops back for Jimenez. Backhand pass toward the front of the net. Banishevitz was lurking there, but he couldn't get it to him. Lensmeyer with an awkward one-timer. Bouncing puck. A lot of bodies corralled in the high slot. A bouncer at the blue line. Finally, the Niners take it. Driscoll goes out wide. Andrew Miller, dangerous shooter. Winds up, fires. Nearly took the head off of Calvin Stone as it ricochets off of his mask and heads up and out of play. Andrew Miller was an ACCHL Player of the Week last year, and that's exactly why. He's got an excellent wrist shot. Quick release, and you saw it right there, top of the right side face-off circle. Just misses high.
Tell you what, Calvin Stone's being tested pretty early here. He's had a couple big shots on him, and he's stood strong, so that's a good sign so far for NC State.
Brian Haveman and Michael Hutton are really going to like the energy that the Niners have brought so far. Off the draw, State has possession, although they're tucked back behind the net. Wing and Farhat play pitch and catch. Finally, moved up. Drugan tries to get it up to the blue line. Right around Dinkler. Could be a 2-on-1 opportunity. Kristoff, as he comes to the right side wing, shoots one off the chest pad of Daniel Ritter. Back behind the cage. Might have been State's best scoring opportunity so far. Gilmartin corrals it. His pass is intercepted. A bouncing puck taken by Drugan at the blue line. Pulls up, high slot, shoots one. A good stop by Toland, and he'll melt it down once again. Pardon Ritter. I keep saying Daniel Toland. They're right next to each other on my roster sheet. I do apologize. But Daniel Ritter, bigger presence than his other two goaltending mates. Balzano's the backup tonight. Certainly an excellent job by Ritter thus far, although he hasn't been tested too terribly much.
No, both goalies are doing actually pretty well right now. They've been tested a little bit, and they're both staying strong, so that could keep things interesting.
Johnston sends it down low to Weaver. Geltley knocks it out of his reach. Right back to Johnston, who's the safety valve, as they continue to do battle in the right side corner. Weaver going to work. Johnston has it jostled free by Geltley. He sends it all the way back around. Good hit laid by Mike Ray. At the blue line, Weaver holds, slap shot, blocked down, could be a chance. Ray, one-on-one, crossing the blue line, dekes around his man, has possession, spins a shot, and misses. Ray did everything but score there. Didn't really get a good shot off, as he was well defended by Chris Wing. Ray's going to get it again, but it runs out of his reach as Wing bounces it off the boards right around Ray. Taken back by the Niners, though. Held here by Weirden at the blue line. Passes into open space. Big hit late in the high slot. Chance for Ray as he slides it just wide on the glove side. Eric Webb sends it right back up. It's soccered back into the zone, and a crafty little play by Alex Thomas. It ends up being nothing more than a glorified turnover. Line change for the Niners allows NC State to break it out. Reed Farhat skates it by himself. Turns it over at the red line. Taken here by Ryan Burke as he goes back. This is Geltley controlling for the Niners. Skated quickly forward. Shane Clapper moves it ahead to his forwards. Into the zone they go. Rolled back, NC State with possession. So far, the breakout passing just hasn't been very crisp for the Wolfpack. 11 minutes to go, first period, still scoreless, NC State and Charlotte. Ryan Kinney takes possession, a backhand breakout pass, intended to go up for one of his line mates. Both crowded in the area. Big hit late as Charlotte knocks it back into their own zone. McDonald at his defensive blue line. Banks a pass up and forward, intended to get it to Tyler Alfanzetti. Rolled around to the neutral zone. State comes away with it. Skated quickly forward. This is Davis Hudson. Sends a weak wrist shot. Easily swallowed by Ritter. Back in toward the front. Off the crossbar. Great chance for Jack McDonald as he elevated it, but just a little too much. 2-on-1 if the Charlotte 49ers hurry. They can't. It was a bad pass. Intended to go to Greg Driscoll. So it rolls all the way back down into State defensive territory. Good pressure from the Niners. Better breakout pass from NC State. Alfanzetti sidesteps his man. But a good safety valve play made by Eric White. Up for Greg Driscoll. In neutral ice, Ryan Kinney takes it from him at the blue line. Rolls in a wrist shot. It deflected right off of Clapper's skate. Over for Usinger. Usinger back behind the net. Skates quickly forward. Dispossessed, but only momentarily. He's got a teammate there. That was White, who just sends it up and forward. Intended for Driscoll. Runs too far for him. It's been nothing more than a game of pong. Turnover on either side of the blue line. State with a good possession here. Banishevitz skates across the blue line. Drops it back for Jimenez. He walks in slot area. Shoots one. Good stop by Ritter. Pulls it right in to the 9 on the 49ers crest. And a whistle blows with 9:40 to go first period. Brett, right now it just seems like time is rolling off the clock. Neither team with a clear advantage. And to be honest with you, it's just been kind of a sloppy hockey game.
Yeah, your use of the word pong was perfect because it's just been going back and forth, back and forth. No team has really got any shots off whatsoever, and it's just turnover after turnover, as you alluded to.
Dinkler goes back for Burke, turned over. Philip Arnold's there, rolls it back out into center. Breakout passing for both teams has just been lackluster. Dinkler gets it out of the glove of Daniel Ritter after a rolling puck came right back into him. Banishevitz causing a disruption as he's on top of Andrew Miller. Over for Thomas Gilmartin. Skates it right back up, and a good pass forward to Arnold. Arnold, slot area, shoots one, misses wide glove side. Koeklenberg swallows the rebound. He sends it right back into the corner. Good pressure by Charlotte, but NC State breaks it out once again. Banishevitz brings it up right wing, holding at the face-off circle, shoots one between Dinkler's legs. Good stop by Ritter. The rebound opportunity was hanging out in the scoring area, but State couldn't grab it. Big Thomas Gilmartin dumps it in off of Reed Farrat's shin pad, so it'll deflect over into the corner. Koeklenberg takes it, looks up, he'll have to go D to D. Deflected pass into the slot, a backhander. Good stop by Calvin Stone, who was ready. Reed Farrat goes across for Koeklenberg here. This isn't the normal defensive pairing that Koeklenberg would be out with. Finally, he's able to get a line change as he sends it back onto his attacking blue line. Gellertley winds up, fires a slap shot. That one ricochets off of one of the light fixtures and well high and out of play.
There's a big stop there by Calvin Stone earlier on that turnover. It was right in front of the net, and he did a good job to react to that one.
Just amazed Gellertley pulled up for the slap shot there. Very rare you see in a vaulted ceiling like this that a puck gets up as high as the light fixtures do, and it's still shaking. Charlotte wins the faceoff, goes directly to work. Left side corner. Pulled off by Kristoff. Goes over for Webb, and here comes NC State. Headman pass for Owen Drugan. Batted down, but the safety valve is Kristoff. He comes in, right side faceoff circle, pass across, the shot never came from Mitchell Gallagher. Pass was thrown behind him, couldn't grab it. Chase Weirden brings it quickly back forward for the Niners, crossing the blue line. Lost the puck behind him, delayed offside, touches back up. Charlotte has possession. Mike Aquila with the puck. Banks it off the boards, intercepted by NC State. Rolling puck. Finally moved up to the right wing. Drugan touches along for Gallagher. He comes up right side at the faceoff circle. Shoots one. Blocker to side nicely by Daniel Ritter. Taken back by the 49ers once again. Skated into the zone by Weirden. Right up Broadway. Shoots one. Calvin Stone deflects it over into the left side corner. Niners holding possession here. Weirden gets caught trying to go off for a line change. State has a little bit of time and space to work with. Breakout pass knocked away by Weirden. Goes across. Slid it through the goal crease. Nobody home for the pass. State having major issues clearing it out. Rolled back in by Sean Gilband. Soccered back by NC State. Finally the Wolfpack with possession. Eric Johnston up the right side board. Shoots one off of the shin pad of Shane Clapper. Niners take possession. This is Gilband with the puck. Lays it quickly forward. Crafty pass intended for Devin Barker. Runs too far for him. Touch up by the Niners. Into the corner boards it goes once again. Drop back in front. Chance for Barker, but he couldn't corral it. Great pass into the slot area. NC State's defense and conglomerate working together nicely. Niners have to go all the way back and into their defensive zone to regroup. Two-man pressure for NC State. Back behind of Daniel Ritter. This is Shane Clapper with it. Looks up left side. Instead, thinks better of it. Goes all the way out to the far side. Chance now for the 49ers. Is Usinger. Sends a pass back for his defenseman, Shane Clapper. Sidesteps his man, who is Dan Weaver. Clapper with a long reach. Stick lift by Weaver, who got back on a nice play. But it's sent across to the blue line. Usinger. High slot across the one-time chance for Clapper, and he fanned on it. Had an open net there, but couldn't get good wood to it. Aquila drops back for Usinger. High slot. Deeks left. Goes across again. Shooting one. Calvin Stone does the splits and makes the save. But we're going to see a high-sticking penalty called by the official, who is back at center ice. And the Charlotte 49ers are going to go onto the power play with 6:04 to go in the first period.
With 6 minutes left, you think in 0-0, you think it's been a boring game so far, but there's been a lot of shots taken from both teams, but both goalies are doing a fantastic job not letting any rebounds go by. It's actually been good hockey. At the beginning, we had a lot of turnovers, but it's starting to come together here in the late of the first period.
Matt Valillo goes off, 2 minutes for high sticking, 13:54 into the period, and the Niners will go on their first special teams opportunity. Gellatley holds at Broadway, shoots one, scored! Kyle Gellatley with a slapper from the point, and the 49ers have a 1-0 lead.
And I guess there was the announcer's jinx right there, because even though that was a little tough for Calvin Stone as there was a lot of people in his way, but we'll see how the NC State responds after that early goal.
NC State trails the Charlotte 49ers after an excellent slap shot from Kyle Gellatley, and that's the play they really wanted. Assist will go to Ryan Burke. And the time of the goal will go down as, I believe, 14:05 into the period. Very, very quick. Only 9 seconds into the power play. Off the draw, NC State wrists it all the way back down the ice. This will be icing. And this is huge for the Charlotte 49ers. As NC State had won 3 out of their last 4, certainly were favored. If they could get off to a good start, you thought NC State was going to be able to manage the Niners. But really, Charlotte has done an excellent job, 2-man pressure on their forecheck, and that's really made a difference.
The great news for NC State is they have a lot of firepower still. So I think the goals will come, but they've got to do a better job of possessing the puck, as we have an opportunity right here.
3-on-2 if they hurry. The pass from Alfonsetti intended to go right back for Jack McDonald, never made it. Alfonsetti comes into the corner, grabs it, skates across the blue line with it. Works all the way over from right to left, now has it left wing sideboards, jumps right back behind the net, looking for a pass, finally moves it up to the point for Koeklenberg. Wrist shot blocked on the way through by Weirden. Here he goes. Stone already in the butterfly, and his defenseman knocks it right back to him, and he finally gets a chance to cover it up. Chase Weirden, who's not somebody you necessarily highlight on your roster card, though. He's had an excellent blue-collar game, made a couple of critical defensive plays, the shot block there, and he nearly springs himself for a breakaway.
Yeah, that was a big one almost right there, but good job by Calvin Stone to get the rebound on that one again. Usinger
forces Valillo over into the left side corner board, spun right back out by the NC State Wolfpack. Banishevitz tried to get it over for Bieberdorf. Clapper came in, stick lifted him. Drops it back to Dinkler, his defense partner. Batted puck at the blue line, taken back by Bieberdorf. He lost it on a roller. Driscoll sends it all the way ahead. This is Mike Aquila going after it. He's one of the speedier, more offensive players here for the Niners. All over Chris Wing. 3 men there for the Niners. Wing can't find a man to pass to. Yeoman's work by Greg Driscoll, who had him wrapped up. Finally over to the winger, Banishevitz. He goes up and to Luis Jimenez. Across center. Jimenez dekes left, heads into the corner. Drops a pass. I'm not sure who that was to, as it was just sent into open ice. And the Niners take it right back. Usinger sends a pass. Tried to get it over for Driscoll. High slot area. Arnold spins a shot, misses wide. Back up to the top. Held in a long wrist shot. Rebound opportunity. Just wide of the net. Philip Arnold hanging out in the slot area. Nobody marking up on their man. Arnold going back to work in the corner. Farhat takes it from him. Sends it over into the right side. And NC State trying to get it out. Finally they do. Quickly skated forward. This is Jimenez. Skates right around his man. Beats Gelbin once. Trying to beat the last defenseman. Backhander. Blocker stopped by Daniel Ritter. Gilmartin takes the rebound. Spins it out into center. Bouncing puck intended for Luis Jimenez. It was lifted far too high to be considered a pass. Banishevitz on the forecheck. Gilmartin gets it, lost it. Here's a pass from Jimenez as he tried to go over for Banishevitz, who was camped out on the left side post, but it never got there. Flip shot. I believe that was from Ryan Burke. Sent up off of another light fixture. Out of play. 3:28 to go first period. And the Charlotte 49ers leading 1-0.
You have to wonder. I'm not trying to get any excuses to NC State Wolfpack, but first time that they've been at full strength in a long time, so maybe everybody's still getting accustomed to playing with each other again.
It's certainly been an interesting look for NC State. It's just the chemistry hasn't been there. Off the draw, Davis Hudson lays it over into the left side corner. Andrew Kristoff, the winger's there. Tied up by Ryan Burke. Backhand pass. Arnold right on top of Gallagher. Battle for the puck ensues. Arnold digs it out. It's taken back by the Charlotte 49ers. 3-on-2. They come through center. Ryan Burke carries the puck, drops a pass all the way across. Gilmartin has it in space, trying to get a shot off. It was bouncing puck on the rough ice down there in the slot area, and he never got a good shot off. Rolling puck just does bounce out into center. Burke sends it off of a State stick, right back behind Calvin Stone. Davis Hudson takes it. Looking over, he goes right side. Mitchell Gallagher trying to sidestep the official. Nearly got caught up in his skates. Good headman pass. 3-on-2 for NC State as they cross the blue line. Carried in. Pass for Eric Johnston. Misses wide. Villalo's there, the defenseman. Safety valve. Ducks into the right side corner. Drugan wipes it across. Trying to get it to Johnston. Geltley beats him to the puck. Sends it right back up. A bouncer by Andrew Miller. And he ended up being intercepted and just rolled back into the zone. Niners take it. Good chance for Sean Gelband as he crosses the blue line. Dekes into center, shoots one, blocked off by the shin pad of Davis Hudson. Quickly skated back forward. Eric Webb, Greensboro Stars product, backhands a pass intended to go for Eric Johnston. Sticked aside by Ritter. All the way back for the 49ers. Barker right on top of the puck, turned over. Johnston had his stick to it. Barker comes back, dispossesses him, and then it's taken back once again by Johnston. Out on the far side. State has it. Johnston trying to bring it across the blue line. A bouncing puck instead comes right back down. Dan Weaver's going to have to go into the right side corner. Charlotte beats him there. This is Lensmeyer who takes it for NC State. Back for Big John Copelandberg. Fired quickly forward for Jack McDonald. Barker dispossesses him at the blue line. Got into his attacking zone, but not with possession. Rolled back in. Minute 25 to go in the first period. Kyle Geltley has the difference maker. 1-0 for the Charlotte 49ers. Dinkler tried to move it up for Barker. Rolls all the way right back down for Ryan Lensmeyer, who's got it. Sends it across the way. Pass intercepted by Mike Ray as he goes down into the left side corner. Back behind the net. Play evolves. Aquila tried to spin it back into the front. NC State has possession instead. Kicked around momentarily. This is Alfonsetti with it, looking up, trying to find Ryan Kinney. Instead goes to the far side winger, and that's McDonald who spins it in. Right side corner boards. The play evolves right back behind Ritter. Dinkler sends it back up for Mike Ray, intercepted momentarily by Ryan Kinney. Niners right back onto it, swarming the puck. Kinney takes it at the blue line, over for Alfonsetti. Holds high slot, shoots one, deflects wide. McDonald, crafty pass as he tried to get it back out of the slot, going right between the legs, but it never got to its intended recipient. Lensmeyer holds the blue line, walks in center, shoots one. Ritter with a good stop of the blocker, can't cover up the rebound, which is hanging out in the slot area. Charlotte survives to center. Good chance for NC State, but the stick not finding the puck for that final finishing play. This is Jack McDonald at the red line. Crosses the blue line, right side boards. Drops back for Alfonsetti at the faceoff circle. Shoots one across, intended for Chris Wing. It was the defenseman coming up in the play. 7 seconds to go as the puck drifts out into center. Niners all over it, and they're just going to skate out into open space. And the Charlotte 49ers have dominated the first 20 minutes of play, albeit the score be 1-0. And the Niners have a lead on the NC State Wolfpack.
Yeah, not a very good first period there for the NC State Wolfpack. They had the early power play, which was a great opportunity to take control of the game right there, and they just turned it over. A lot of turnovers throughout the game. We alluded to earlier that they have everybody back, but the chemistry might be a little off there. But the good news is they're only down 1-0 right now, and they still have a lot of firepower on their team. They still have 2 more periods to go.
Well, it's certainly been an exciting hockey game, but Mike Gazzillo is not going to be happy with the first 20 minutes that were played by his hockey team. Meanwhile, Brian Hapeman can be nothing but happy with the way his squad played. Score at the end of 20 minutes, the Charlotte 49ers won, the NC State Wolfpack 0. We'll be right back to talk about the first 20 minutes and set up the remaining 40. This is NC State Hockey on PackTV. first period intermission break here from the Raleigh Iceplex. Drew Blevins alongside of Brett Galt. And Brett, it wasn't the start that NC State wanted, but certainly for the Charlotte 49ers, this is one that they're going to put in the success column as they lead 1-0 at the completion of 20 minutes. What was the difference that allowed Charlotte to start so quickly?
Well, the difference was they killed the power play early, and they controlled the puck most of that first period. NC State just needs to put that period behind them. Charlotte could use that period to go forward because I thought they played pretty good hockey. They controlled the puck. They had a lot of possession. NC State really had a lot of turnovers. There was actually a period in that first period where both teams had a lot of turnovers, but towards the end, Charlotte took control, and hence that's why they have the 1-0 lead.
Well, what I think I really want to talk to you about is the forecheck. The way Charlotte automatically had 2 men onto the puck, staying third guy high, just a traditional 2-1-2 that they were running down, attacking into their offensive zone. NC State really didn't look like they knew what to do. Back checking, I thought, was pretty even, but when you looked at the way that the Niners really gravitated toward the hockey puck, I thought it was just stupendous. And the way they put pressure on all of NC State's defensemen, I thought was a difference maker.
Yeah, NC State had no answer in that first period, and it was pretty obvious because they just could not get any hold of the puck, and they couldn't get any of their offense going forward, and that's where we know NC State is really dominant if they can get the puck going forward.
Well, and Charlotte automatically has the special teams advantage, 1-for-1 on the power play, 9 seconds into the Matt Villillo penalty. Kyle Gellert with a seeing eye slap shot through traffic. That could end up being a huge goal because that automatically posits the Niners into this hockey game. What did you see on that play?
Yeah, it was a nice power play. Like we said, NC State couldn't take control of theirs, and they did, and it was a pretty good shot as well, but Calvin Stone, I thought, played a pretty good half. I think could have easily been 4 or 5-0, and he had a couple good stops, especially on that one right there where it was right in front of him, and he kind of let it go to the side of him. But I thought NC State just needs to put this period behind them and just go forward and just totally kind of start off the game in their own mindset a different way.
Well, we'll certainly talk adjustments coming up in our second segment. We'll step aside here. First intermission, the Charlotte 49ers 1, the NC State Wolfpack 0. We'll talk adjustments after this break. And on Breast Cancer Awareness Night, we welcome you back into the Raleigh Iceplex. 1-0 is the score, and really before we go any further with hockey, NC State in the pink uniforms. I've got the pink tie on, some of our staff members wearing pink as well. Our director, Madison Bell, also sporting the pink tonight. But before we go any further, just an excellent cause, all auction money going off to a breast cancer charity to be named by the NC State Wolfpack. And so many of us have been touched by the terrible disease that is cancer, whether it be us directly or somebody that we know. And I can only think about my grandmother, Barbara Blevins, who passed away in 1994 from breast cancer. You know, it really is just a terrible disease. And what a great job by NC State to put on this event.
Yeah, you got to love it. I mean, if I had pink, I would be wearing it. Unfortunately, I did not have any pink, so I'm not wearing any. But it's just a great cause, as you mentioned. I mean, hopefully one day we will find a cure for cancer. But till now, we just got to keep on donating, and hopefully they keep on doing good work in the labs.
Well, NC State has done pretty much anything but good work in the first period. And you really hate to sound condescending when you're talking about it, but when you heard so much about everybody's back and healthy and you're going to be back into the groove of things and expecting to see the NC State hockey of old, it was anything but in this first period. I mean, the offense just wasn't there. It seemed like the passing wasn't very crisp. What's the biggest adjustment that NC State needs to make going into the second period? I
mean, maybe we were just a little too optimistic there at the beginning because everybody is back, but we don't know if the chemistry is there, and obviously it wasn't there in the first period. But starting with adjustments, if there's any more power plays in the second period, they got to take advantage of that, or at least get a couple good shots, because all we saw in the first period was a bunch of turnovers on the power play. But it's all about just containing the puck. Charlotte had the majority of the puck in that first period, and that's why they have the 1-0 lead. And another thing is just keep on shooting. Eventually one will go in.
If you're Mike Gazzillo, or are you calm and collected in the locker room and not trying to panic everybody, or are you lighting into your team right now?
I think you're calm and collected after this period. Now, if they continue that in the second period, I think it's a little different story, but you're just having all the guys back together, first time in a while, so I think you're just kind of, hopefully they feel each other out better in the second period, but if they don't, then I think that at the end of the second period, that intermission is going to be a little hot in there.
Well, and I look at the Charlotte 49ers, and, you know, when you look at the way they played, and NC State didn't have but two major scoring opportunities, I think you're tempted to say that was almost the perfect period from the 49ers, but I know in my mind there are a couple adjustments that need to be made. What do you think the Niners need to do?
I mean, perfect period, but then again, they're only up 1-0 still. I think they got to keep on testing Calvin Stone. He had a really good first period, if you ask me. I thought he made a lot of great saves there, but they did have the possession most of the time, but I think that if they give a couple more shots off, I think eventually a couple more will go in for them, and that's a little scary for NC State, considering that they didn't have any puck possession there in the first period.
Well, when I look at what the Charlotte 49ers did this period, I think my major thing is, first of all, you've got to be sharper on your passes. Because if Charlotte had passed the puck better, this is not a 1-0 hockey game. This is easily 2 or 3-0, which is a very, very tough deficit to overcome so early. The other thing is, and this is having played the position, when I look at the way Daniel Ritter is playing, and he's played well so far, it still looks like he's not very comfortable in the net because he's still giving up rebounds. As long as you're not shooting it right into that 49er crest, you're going to be able to get scoring opportunities, which is my major adjustment for NC State. Flood the net with shots. Don't be afraid to shoot it. You've got snipers on this team that can pick corners, and I think that's what State needs to do.
Well, the whole thing is hopefully they can get the possession to get down there to take the shots, or else they're not going to be able to get any shots, but I agree with that assessment right there. I think we're going to see a better second half here, or second period, for the NC State Wolfpack, because I think the chemistry is going to be a little more better there than the first period, and it needs to be.
Well, the score at the end of the first period, the Charlotte 49ers won, the NC State Wolfpack 0. Second period puck drop is next. This is NC State Hockey on PackTV. Top lines back out, no carryover penalties and or power plays as we start the second period from the Iceplex in Raleigh. NC State wins the draw as Banashevitz just spins it into the zone. Almost hit Ritter right in the chest pad, but it just grazes to the left side of the net. Charlotte right on top of it. A little bouncing puck came up and into the grill of Andrew Miller. We have a whistle at the blue line, offside called by the linesman. 19:46 to go in the second period. Niners 1, Wolfpack 0. Drew Blevins alongside Brett Galt. If you're wondering why you're not seeing picture this evening, we are having technical difficulties here at the Iceplex, so instead we hope you enjoy the serendipitous tones of these two southern accented young men. Brett, did you think we were going to be able to work in the use of the word serendipitous this evening?
No, I did not. But you just never know what's going to come out of your mouth when you're doing a broadcast with the Drew Blevins.
Gilmartin takes the puck, sends it all the way up and ahead. This is a good chance for Andrew Miller. Crossing the blue line, deeks to center, pulls it back out right side. State dispossesses him. That was a good defensive play by Chris Wing. Just got the stick to it. Quickly, the Niners take it. Very much like one of those Super Bowls. The puck has been bouncing all over the place. Very hard ice here at the Iceplex. The only Olympic-sized sheet in the state. Snap pass for Banashevitz. He comes up left wing side, deeks into the center, shoots one. Looking for the far side post, and he misses just wide. Charlotte right back behind the net, gathering the rebound, tried to get it out. Wing holds the line. Sends it in, left side corner boards, wide of Banashevitz. Ryanberg takes it. Bounces this one right off of the official. Fortunately for Charlotte, Kyle Gelletley was there. To Miller, pass intercepted. Banashevitz turns on a dime in center. Pass over for Jimenez. Backhanded shot blocked down by Gelletley's stick. Kyle Gelletley really earning his stripes here tonight. It's been an excellent defensive effort from the Charlotte 49ers. Taken quickly back in the opposite direction. Greg Driscoll coming across the blue line. Right up center, shoots one. Calvin Stone stops it with a goal stick and collects the rebound. Stone, more sizable goalkeeper, but I think something that he's been told his whole life, and this goes back to when I was out there trying out against him and watching him play as well, so deep in the goal crease, so collecting rebounds on him is so critical. Charlotte wins yet another face-off. NC State has struggled in the circle tonight. Turned over, and Ryan Kinney takes it right up center. Deeks by his man. He's off to the races, and he tripped over the blue line. Kinney with an excellent move to get right by Shane Clapper, and I'm not sure if Clapper got a piece of his skate or what, but Kinney ends up tumbling over. NC State establishes offensive possession, though. McDonald with a shot, deflects awkwardly off of Shane Clapper's stick, and heads up over top of the goalpost.
It definitely looked like Kinney did get tripped right there. I think that's a bad no call by the referee right there.
Icing waved, NC State in their defensive zone. This is Jack McDonald with it. Starts out of the left side corner, passes across the ice, intended for Davis Hudson, misses his stick and goes all the way down to the other end. This is going to be icing. Jeff Wing, who we'll get to hear from coming up in the second intermission, has preached about not going cross ice with breakout passes, and so far that's been the key to undoing for NC State. If they're able to settle down and go to about 10-foot passes, they're normally going to be very good. Face-off won by the Niners again. Slap shot through traffic, blocked down by Tyler Alfonzetti. Weirden collects the rebound for Charlotte. Back behind the net, NC State going right to it. Right side corner, pass up for Ryan Kinney. Big hit late in the corner by Mike Aquila. State having issues getting it out. Davis Hudson turns to the right side corner, sends it across the ice. This is Jack McDonald. Skates up the left side, deeks in towards center, shoots one high slot, blocker down by Ritter, rebound taken by Clapper. Backhands it along. Weirden going after it for the Niners. Ryan Lensmeyer dispossesses him, but turns it over. Could be a 2-on-1 if they hurry. Ray goes out for Weirden. Here he comes left side, shoots one. Calvin Stone kicks it aside with the blocker side leg pad. The rebound corralled back behind the net. Aquila goes to it for the Niners. To James Dinkler up top, sends it down for Weirden once again. Kokenberg knocks him off the puck. Here come the Wolfpack. Up through center, Mike Ray has the puck caught up in his skates. Nearly too many men. Aquila just getting off the ice before the puck ricocheted off of his skate. Charlotte survives. Clapper sends it in. Quickly taken by the NC State defensive core, dumped all the way back down. This is going to be icing. Charlotte and Chase Weirden, who continues his blue-collar effort tonight, nearly went up a deuce. Calvin Stone, though, once again, critical stop.
Yeah, I don't know about you so far, but I'm kind of seeing the same thing from the first period or here in the second period that we saw from the first period from the Wolfpack.
Sam Reddy turns it back to Dinkler, who dumps it into the zone. Gelband goes to the corner of the net. Chance right in front, State there. Cleared out to the blue line, and here comes the Wolfpack. Quickly, Ryan Kinney goes off to the races, dispossessed by a good play from Ryan Burke. Burke goes into the corner, flushed out by Andrew Kristoff, but the Niners grab the puck once again. Sam Reddy comes across center. At the blue line, Deke shoots one. Calvin Stone deflects it to the right side corner with his leg pad. Turned back onto the net. Burke tried to catch Calvin Stone before he was looking. Drugan takes the rebound. Pass goes too far, even out of the long outstretched reach of Gallagher. Turned over the neutral zone. Dinkler tries to send it back into the zone. Throws it into his own bench instead. 16-11 to go in the second period. Charlotte holding a 1-0 lead.
And we're not seeing the possession that we thought we would see here in the second period from the Wolfpack. It's kind of the same thing that they had in the first period. Just a lot of turnovers, not really going forward that much, losing the puck in their zone. And that's why Charlotte still has the early 1-0 lead.
State puts it deep into their offensive zone, just dumped in. Chris Wing holding the blue line, sends it right back down low. Going to work is Andrew Kristoff. Ryan Burke turns off of him. Back for Mitchell Gallagher. He gets stuck into the left side corner. Turns back at the face-off circle, button hooking, trying to get the puck right back down low. Intercepted by Charlotte. Back behind the net, this is Dinkler with it. Snap pass all the way up and ahead. Andrew Miller sidesteps his man. Gets it forward for Philip Arnold. Dumps it into the zone. Calvin Stone tried to set it on a tee. Couldn't catch up to the puck. Gallagher there. Left side boards. Sends it back up for Kristoff, who lets it go for Drugan. Turned over at the blue line. Arnold sidesteps his man. Heads directly into the left side corner. Stuck on the wing side boards. Takedown right in front of the net. And no call there as a tie-up occurs. Gilmartin going to work. He's got possession of the puck as he rides Reed far out into the corner. Pulled out by the Wolfpack and just flipped out into open ice. Ryan Burke will chase it right back down. Andrew Kristoff giving chase. Back behind the cage, Kristoff runs into Ryan Burke, nearly creating a turnover. Charlotte has three guys back behind the net. They win the numbers battle. Quickly forward into the blue line. Pass ricochets off of Gilmartin. State onside is just getting off the ice in time was Kristoff. Wing holding the blue line, or at least trying to, as the puck ricocheted off of his stick. Webb turns it back in. Charlotte will take over. Up at the blue line, Greg Driscoll skates it right up the right side wing boards. Intercepted by Eric Johnston. Goes over for Webb. Wristed into the zone. Webb going to go get his own rebound after Ritter deflected it into the left side corner. State after it once more. Hudson holds to the blue line. Down the left side kick plate. Back behind the net. Webb goes toward the slot. Nobody home for the pass. Intercepted, and here comes Usinger. Away with speed. Heading right down Broadway. Deeks left. Heads over into the corner. Spins a pass. Deflected by a chorus of NC State defenders. Rolled right back in onto Calvin Stone Weekly. Usinger grabs the rebound. Double teamed as they ride over left side. Back behind the net. The battle continues. Usinger's been knocked down, and I believe he's on top of the puck. Official blows the whistle. I don't imagine we'll see a penalty called here. But Usinger gets knocked over, and the puck gets frozen up against the kick plate. 13:58 to go, second period.
Boy, he has some speed, doesn't he? He just flies.
Well, if you want to see the proper use of speed, look at the way Zach Usinger plays. Similar look to Zach Cormier, who plays for the UNCW Seahawks. Cormier, though, is out there with the explicit purpose of taking the body. Usinger is a clean body checker, but also very fast skater, creating offensive opportunities for the Charlotte 49ers. State wins the draw, sends it all the way back down into their attacking zone. Gelletley grabs it, passes over for Usinger, tries to get the breakout going, intercepted by Banishevitz, goes over for Jimenez, stationed high slot area, taken off the puck, and sent it right back out into neutral ice. Greg Driscoll takes it. 2-on-2 if they hurry. Driscoll looking for a pass, goes across the way, found Eric White, who has to turn over into the right corner. Went back up to the slot. Gelletley wasn't ready for it. Into center, Gelletley dumps it back in. Niners will have to touch. Stone sets it up for Valillo. Breaks it up past center. Banishevitz now takes it. Skates up left side wing, crossing the blue line at the faceoff circle. Shoots one right into the crest of Ritter's uniform. There is no rebound. And that's got to be a point of frustration right now for Mike Guzillo. You've got one of your better shooters, your top line going out there, and that's the best scoring opportunity that you can create. Sam Banishevitz has the potential to be a sniper, but so far, Ritter challenging nicely at the top of his goal crease, not really allowing Banishevitz any room to shoot.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it in Banishevitz. He looks like a little discouraged right there, and he has a reason to be because they're down 1-0 right now, and they have not been able to get anything going.
Weirden nearly had another opportunity. Instead, State's going to turn it right back at center. Bouncing puck in the neutral zone. Aquila takes it, backhands it for Weirden. Pulls it off the kick plate. Heads behind the net, coming right to left. Weirden hanging on to it, goes up to the point once again. Slap shot, here it comes. Stone kicks it aside with the leg pad. Weirden's going to get the rebound, though. Trading places, drops it back for Dinkler. Tries to go down past Eric White. Heads behind the net. Banishevitz on his backhand. Clapper holds the blue line. Bouncing puck taken back by Luis Jimenez. But Dinkler, good play on the back check, gets there first and just throws it into open ice. State collecting once again. This is Ryan Lensmeyer. He's going to let it go for Banishevitz, who's been out there for a considerable amount of time. Over for McDonald. A bouncing puck gets the better of him. Clapper dumps it in off of the stick of Barker. No icing as a result. Banishevitz back behind the net. Tries to send it up for Will Bieberdorf, who has it. Finds McDonald with a headman pass. 2-on-1 defensively. McDonald dispossessed at the line and taken right back by the Charlotte 49ers. Sam Reddy with it. He's got it. Could be a 2-on-1 if they hurry. Reddy shoots one, and he scores! Sam Reddy buries it short side. The Charlotte 49ers are up 2-0.
It's hard to even say right there. They just kind of lost NC State lost the puck in their own zone, and just Charlotte 49ers capitalized once again, and now we have a 2-0 game, and now things become a little interesting right now because NC State is not playing the way that we're accustomed to see them playing. They don't have any offense going, so it's going to be interesting to see if they can get back into this game.
Sam Reddy's goal will go down unassisted, 8:13 into the second period, and the Charlotte 49ers have stunned the crowd here in Raleigh. With a win, NC State would secure a spot in the Admirals Cup playoffs. Seeding, of course, yet to be determined, as we've got a long way to go before the tournament in 2 weeks. But right now, NC State caught back on their heels. Tyler Alfonzetti spins into the right side corner, goes up top for Farad. Good shot, stopped by Ritter. The rebound was hanging out in a juicy area. State didn't have anybody stationed there. Alfonzetti spin shot, fanned on it, corrals his own rebound to the slot, a backhand pass across the way. State misses wide. Had a gaping 4x6, and Ryan Kinney pushes it wide on the right side. Kinney's going to get it back again, deking in towards center, shoots one off of Ritter. Back behind the net, Ritter looking to cover, can't do it. State with a flurry of shots here. Back behind the net it goes, a roller over to Chris Wing, holds the blue line, dumping it right back down to left side corner. Big hit laid. Going down hard was Alex Thomas as he gets acquainted with Tyler Alfonzetti. To the point, line held by Farad, dumping it right back into the left side corner. McDonald turns with it, looking for somebody to pass to, heads in on his backhand, but he lost it. Charlotte collects, and here they come. Andrew Miller. Chance of let's go Wolfpack down below. Miller crosses the blue line onside with Gil Martin as he's ridden into the left side corner. Good hit by Reed Farad. Kinney going after it. Pulled back off to Owen Drugan now. Backhands it up at the blue line. Big hit laid nearly into the numbers. Charlotte might have been fortunate not to have been called for a penalty there. Doesn't matter. Both teams get off. Fire wagon line change per side. Halfway through this hockey game, Charlotte 2, NC State 0. Tripping across the line, 3-on-2 if they hurry. State's about to go to the power play. Drugan with the backhand shot. Rebound opportunity. Ritter got a piece of it with his goal stick, and NC State is going to go on the power play. And that is where the utilization of speed certainly helps out. 10:07 to go in the second period, and NC State has a chance to cut the deficit in half.
Here's the power play we were talking about. We're not very good on the first one here, so let's see if they can redeem themselves and get a goal here to make it a one-goal deficit.
Penalty will go to number 9, Eric White. 2 minutes for tripping, 9:53 into the second period. And NC State 0 for 1 in the power play today. Starts off again, Banishevitz. Left wing, drifts to the high slot where he passes to Reed Farad. Going down low. Jimenez to the top, Banishevitz looking, shoots one, kicked aside by Ritter. Rebound, scored! Will Bieberdorf buries the rebound. Welcome back to hockey, young man. His first point since October 1st. 2-1.
Just a shot that went off, deflected, and Bieberdorf was right there to put it right into the net. Now we have a 2-1 game, and NC State has a little momentum now. Probably their first momentum of the night.
That goal comes 10:09 into the second period. A power play tally for Will Bieberdorf. It was an awkward shot from Sam Banishevitz as he caught Daniel Ritter sliding to the right, shot it back to the left. Ritter kicked it aside, but right off of Shane Clapper, and Will Bieberdorf uses his long reach to secure the rebound goal. And we'll see if State can take the momentum and start to turn it into a positive direction. Chance of Wolfpack down below. Here come the Pack. Into the zone, Valillo beats his man. Curls, wrap chance, lost it. Another penalty coming. This is going to go against Charlotte. Gallagher takes it, tries to tuck it in on the short side. It was deflected out into open space. Weirden touches, and NC State is going to have a golden opportunity to tie it less than a minute after they drew their first goal of the game.
You like that power play better, that last one too, because they spaced things out. They actually controlled the puck, unlike the first power play where they were just turning it over, and they got the shot off that they wanted.
I believe the indication was holding by the official. The penalty goes to Mike Aquila. Penalty comes with 9:24 to go in the second period. NC State setting up shot. Point shot off the goalpost. The rebound kicks out. Arnold clears to the blue line, no further. State holds. Banashevitz in the slot. Lost it. Charlotte clears. Perfect opportunity. A seeing eye shot came from Davis Hudson, but he rang it off the pipe. Here's Jimenez, right side wing, hanging on to it as he drifts into the corner. Goes up to the point. Davis Hudson goes over for Farad. Up in the high slot, passes across. Jimenez shoots one, trying to pick the corner. Instead off the side of the goal. Farad at the top once again, shoots. Scored! Reed Farad with the wrister from the point. We're tied 2-2.
What a change of events this game has got now. Farah with a beautiful upper right corner, and now we are tied. And wow, you gotta say the momentum is definitely with the Wolfpack right now. Now we have ourselves a hockey game again.
Absolutely unbelievable. Goal separated by a minute and 3 seconds. Reed Farad knocks it up for NC State. Back-to-back power play goals. And the crowd has injected life back into this team. State wins the draw. Gallagher shoots one. Rebound chance as that one came kicking hard off of the chest pad of Daniel Ritter. Thrown back down low. Drugan backhands it along for Gallagher. Left side corner. Tries to send it back up. It was blocked down. Usinger after it for Charlotte across the blue line. He's got possession. Left side corner. Flushed out by Copelandberg. Pass into the slot area. Nobody home for it. Ryan Burke. Center ice. Banks it over for Usinger. He's got it at center. Usinger sidesteps Andrew Kristoff. Sidesteps Owen Drugan. Usinger looking. Dekes around his final man. Toward the slot. Rebound chance. Niners still have possession of it. Right back behind the net. Greg Driscoll hanging on to two guys as he goes into the corner. State pulls out with possession. All the way back to Ryan Burke, who corrals it. Driscoll sends it right back up in center. Turning with it. Dumps it in. Copelandberg going after it, left side corner. Over for Ryan Lensmeyer. He banks it up off the boards. Taken by Andrew Kristoff. Sidesteps his man. Kristoff after it. Into center as he goes to Dan Weaver. Crossing the blue line. Weaver across for Ryan Lensmeyer. Right side corner. Lensmeyer taken down hard right in front of the official. All clean. Johnston at center. Over for Eric Webb. Bounces it in. Kyle Geltley going after it. He's got to go back into the defensive zone. Fakes one way and starts to head out left corner. Off the boards. Tried to send it back in the opposite direction. Valillo reaching out. Missed it. Could be a chance going in the opposite direction. Here comes Barker. Beats his man. Turns at the left side corner. Going across. Intended for Gelbin, who missed it. State 2-on-2 opposite direction. Here they come. Matt Valillo rubbed out by Kyle Geltley. Into the corner. Sam Reddy with it. Goes back for Geltley. Looking forward, finally finds a pass on the left side wing. Over for Burke. Tried to get it over for Reddy through the skates of Gelbin, who deflected it. State takes it once again. At center, Johnston backhands it in, right back behind the net. Going after it here now is Ryan Burke. Turning on his backhand, looking for Kyle Geltley. He'll head over. Banks it up out of the corner, trying to get it over for his white wing, and it's taken back quickly here by Philip Arnold. Trying to stay onside with Sam Reddy. Reached the skate backwards, couldn't hold it. Offside called on the Charlotte 49ers. 6:21 to go in the second period.
You like what you're seeing from NC State? They're finally trying to gain possession of the puck, and they've done a good job. They did better in the minute 13, better than they did in the first whole period, and that's why they're tied right now.
Well, Charlotte is taking it all in stride as they've returned right back to their game plan. And ever since those two goals in the span of a minute 3, it's been a push in momentum. State issues breaking it out of their defensive zone. Finally they do. This is Ryan Kinney, 2-on-2, crossing the blue line, heads right up Broadway. Drops back for Alfanzetti, who shoots one from the right side face-off circle. Taken by Ritter. He smacks it right back behind the net. State holds the blue line. Quick shot through traffic. Deflects off of the blocker of Ritter. Up and out of play. 5:54 to go in the second as we remain tied at 2-2. You know, Brett, it was interesting. You really did feel the deflation of this building as soon as that second goal for Charlotte went in. And then come to figure out, you've got 2 goals in you in the span of less than 90 seconds, and all of a sudden a crowd back into this game. And you better believe about the 400, maybe a little bit more, that are corralled here at the Iceplex. This is the energy they're looking for. Charlotte, though, wins the draw. Here comes Andrew Miller. Hangs out on the right side corner boards. Pass across. He was looking for one of his teammates, Thomas Gilmartin, who was streaking in from the left side. Couldn't convert on the play. Right back up the boards. This is Alfanzetti. Takes a shoulder to the back. Alfanzetti spinning. Up at the left. Pass up for Farad. Slap shot deflected. Rebound chance. Hanging out. Shooting one. And that went off the backside of Andrew Kristoff. If he hadn't have been down in the ice, very well could have gone in. Slapped into the zone by Shane Clapper. Reed Farad goes back to chase it. Niners get off on a fire wagon change. Turned over. Miller. Slot. Shoots one. Good defensive play by Chris Wing. Nearly disastrous on a breakout pass from Reed Farad. Farad in a little bit of trouble. Finally skates right back out. Crosses in front of his own goaltender. Sends it over for Ryan Kinney. He comes up the left wing. Kinney steps in. Shoots one right into Daniel Ritter. There is no rebound. Ritter will not be asked to play it. 4:57 to go in the second period. Tight hockey game.
I don't know about you, but I'm definitely liking the way that we're playing here better in the second period. You almost thought at the beginning there that it was going to be the whole first period once again, but like you said, the span of the 2 goals in the minute of 3, and now they have a little more momentum here, and they're going forward a lot more.
Face-off won by NC State. Jimenez turns, lost it. Banashevitz takes it back and just spins it into the zone. Bieberdorf. After it, he's got it pinned up on the right side kick plate. Lost it. Could be a 2-on-1 if they hurry. Maybe a breakaway. Ray tried to drag it through the skates of Bieberdorf, who got back quickly and lofts it up backhanded into the meshing out of play. Bieberdorf trying to get it over for Lensmeyer. I think he got victimized by a puck on edge as that pass was clearly elevated up into the meshing. Offensive zone draw coming for the Niners. Mike Aquila will take the draw against Bieberdorf. Bieberdorf wins it, and away goes Luis Jimenez. Coming up the right side wing, Jimenez holding, shooting one, just misses on the blocker side. Ritter's starting to look a little bit rattled now. Charlotte takes the rebound, 1-on-1. Here's Weird, and he's been everywhere, shoots one, cut down by the leg pad of Calvin Stone. Out to center. Dinkler rolls it back in. Weird touches up, beats Ryan Lensmeyer to the puck. Back behind the net he goes. Tries to tuck it right side. Lensmeyer sealed him off. He throws it back into open ice. Aquila onto the puck here. Fell before John Kochlenberg could finish him. Turns over the puck. Banashevitz. Left wing. Tried to backhand it over for Luis Jimenez. Rolls too far for him. Ryan Burke onto the puck now. Burke lost it. Jimenez takes it. Chance for NC State. Cutting into the center. Shooting one. Ritter had his pad down and ready. Bieberdorf sends it up to this point. Lost it. Here's Weirden once again. It's Weirden who drops it over for Ray. Ray sealed off by a diving Ryan Lensmeyer. Chase Weirden playing the game of his life right now. Bounced up off the boards. Ray tried to go glove to stick. He lost it. Will Bieberdorf takes it. Sends it over for Banashevitz. Up the left side boards. Banashevitz beats his man Burke. Cuts it at the goal line. Shoots one. Elevated it too high. 3:20 to go in the second period. Charlotte onto it once again. Here comes Ray. He's got Weirden ahead, but he's just going to dump it in. It's got to be a tired unit out there already. Stayed onto the puck in their defensive zone. They lost it. Greg Driscoll onto it for the Niners. Spun back toward the slot area. Driscoll going after it. He had Usinger there as well. Up at the top, Clapper holds the blue line, left side. Pass to the slot, fanned on by Driscoll. He's got it. Picks it up again. Driscoll going in front, off of the defensive skate of the Wolfpack. Good thing they had 4 guys there as they corral the puck. Stat pass all the way up and ahead, intended for Jimenez. Rolls off of his stick. He's gassed, gets off for a line change. Charlotte with the entire defensive zone to themselves. Snap pass all the way ahead. Good pass for Gelband off of his skate, though. Driscoll has it ricochet off of his stick. Over for Gallagher. Now gets it over for Andrew Kristoff. Cuts left. Goes back to the front. Good shot by Gallagher. Cut down by a defensive stick from Gelband. Held at the blue line by NC State. They'll work on the right side of the ice this time. Back behind the cage. Gallagher. Over for Kristoff, goes to the point for the low slap shot through traffic, gets caught up in the slot area into Drugan skates, rebound chance. Back behind the net goes Kristoff. controlling as he spins over into the right side corner. Sealed off by Gelman. Gets rid of the puck. Driscoll takes it for Charlotte. All the way up and ahead. Good pass forward. Here comes Usinger. He's got one man to beat. It's Davis Hudson. Toe drags around him. Hudson has stick-on-stick defense there on Usinger. Had to be careful not to hook him there. Usinger so very, very fast. Taken back here by NC State. They go right up through center. Here comes Kristoff. He goes right between the face-off circles. Shoots one on DeRitter, who takes it in the leg pad and covers the rebound. Minute 45 to go in this second period. And right now we are deuces wild at 2 apiece.
I think both teams are just content to go into the third period tied because both teams have had a lot of energy gassed here in the second period. Both teams are definitely working hard. NC State's getting back into this. It's the third period is going to be a wild one.
Face-off is a stalemate, but Charlotte takes possession after a lengthy 3-second battle. Gil Martin going on far side. He's dispossessed now by Reed Farrott. He'll shoot it right around the boards in his defensive zone as Eric Webb takes it, turned over. Charlotte has been so very good with their defensive positioning, but Kevin Hilla there wrists it just whizzing by the linesman's ear at the blue line as it rises up and into the 49er bench. That's been a danger area over there. We've had a couple of heat-seeking headhunters over there.
Ref got down pretty quick there, right?
Now you got to make sure that his leg's okay as he
like
crashed the ice quickly. Seems to be all right at least, as linesmen and referees are going to come over and talk about this one. Had the face-off spotted wrong. It's actually going to come to the NC State attacking side of center because that's where the puck was shot from. No deflection. 87 seconds to go second period. Face-off won by the 49ers. Gilmartin dumps it in, heads right back behind of Calvin Stone. Trying to finish what he started, a backhand pass off the backside of the net. Wing takes it, turned over. He's going to get another chance, though. Wing goes right back behind the cage, bounces it off the net, and he gets caught again in front. Gilmartin shoots one. Calvin Stone was ready short side. Taken by Reed Farrott. Got it around Andrew Miller. This is Banishevitz as he goes across. Here's Luis Jimenez crossing the blue line. Banishevitz now slap shot. Good stop by Ritter. Blocker side leg pad turns away one of the best scorers in the ACC. Snap pass all the way ahead to Phil Arnold. Arnold has a step on Farrott, who comes back, rolls him off into the corner. We're going to see a penalty called here. State touches, and with 44 seconds, Reed Farrott will be heading to the penalty box.
It was a huge stop by Ritter on that Banishevitz shot because it looked like he was definitely going to score that one, and now Charlotte has the opportunity to try to get ahead with the power play of their own with 44.7 left here in the second period.
Penalty comes 19-16 into the period. This is going to be Farrott. I'm not exactly sure what they nailed him for there. And Chris Wing over by the penalty box as well, and I believe he's just checking on his teammate here. We'll see how this goes down. Officials will retreat into their officials' crease up at center. And I think what Sam Banishevitz is saying is what I saw the official give the signal for was interference, but puck was right there. Phil Arnold went down hard.
It's kind of hard to see from our viewpoint, but you could just see kind of both of them going down at the same time. So I'm not sure what they had there.
Will Nolenberger, fourth-year manager for the team and scorekeeper over there between the glass, certainly been kept busy as he sorts this one out. Officials are going to have a discussion now with Brian Hapeman. 44.7 to go. This game all turned on its head, 10:09 into the second period when Will Bieberdorf scored. And then a minute and 3 seconds later, Reed Farrott. And now they're also going to get Phil Arnold, who is livid. This is going to be matching minors. Phil Arnold throws his helmet down entering the penalty box, and he immediately goes to jacking his jaw at the officials. And honestly, this is one of those situations I don't think you need to get either player for a penalty here.
Just kind of cancels each other out.
And what they're going to get him for is embellishment. And I'm surprised at that one, to say the least.
Would you have just let it go there in the
first place? I would have completely let it go. I don't think there was really too much reason to call it. But I'm up here in the broadcast booth and off the ice, so I'll just be content to relay the news to all of you folks. 4-on-4 hockey. 44 seconds to go in the period. Off the draw, using it, wrapping it around. Goes in front. Chance for the Niners, and the shot was blocked down immediately. Good pinch by Ryan Burke. All over Chris Wing. Burke has it behind the net. Falls right onto the back of the cage and turns the puck over resultingly. Floated back, and it was blocked down initially by one of the Charlotte 49ers who was forward of the play. State finally forges ahead with it. 2-on-2 with 17 seconds to go in the period. Weak shot, misses well wide of the net. It looks like we're going to head into the intermission tied. Perhaps one last rush for Charlotte. This is Ryan Burke crossing the blue line, right side. Got 2 men on him, double teamed, and he's turned out. Kristoff was shucked off on the play. Second to go, and that is where the period is going to end. Fireworks in the second period, and we're all knotted up 2-2. 20 minutes to go, 40 minutes in the books. Man alive, this is going to be a barn burner of a finish.
It's going to be a great third period. Second period, after that second goal there by Charlotte, you just thought that kind of just deflated NC State, but 2 quick goals in a span of 1-3, and we're going to have ourselves a heck of a third period. It's going to be a lot of fun. Stay tuned with us.
Well, coming up at the second intermission, we'll have assistant coach Jeff Wing up in the broadcast booth with us, as Brett Galt will interview him for our Coach's Corner interview. And then we will talk adjustments, what we saw in the first 40 and what we expect to see in the final 20. Don't go anywhere. The score at the end of 2 periods, the NC State Wolfpack 2 and the Charlotte 49ers 2. We'll be back after this.
Brett Gall here with assistant coach Jeff Wing. And Jeff, we saw in the first period there not really great play at all by the NC State Wolfpack. They were down 1-0 after the end of the first period. A lot of turnovers, a lot of sloppy play, not much possession at all. You can see Charlotte kind of just control that first period.
Yeah, I agree with that. In fact, I thought both teams played a little sloppy, honestly. I don't think either of us have much to be proud of. But and it's funny you use the word sloppy. That's what we used in the intermission. Like, you guys got to just sharpen up, right? And obviously they did, at least a little bit.
In the second period there, we saw them Charlotte get off to a 2-0 start, and we saw a little deflation there. Did you guys tell anything to the guys after that, or because they all had their heads down there at the
Yeah, that happens a lot of time. The momentum is a real thing, right? But this game's pretty important relative to ACC points and standings in the upcoming championship tournament. So it's a pretty important game. You just tell them, hey, look, after that second goal, shake it off, right? Get back in the game, sharpen up like we talked about, and start getting pucks to the net. And we're really trying to get behind their D is the objective now for sure.
Then we had 2 back-to-back power plays, both goal scorer, and a 103, and then we kind of saw the crowd get into it, and the players started to get a little better. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I said it's momentum. I mean, the crowd has been great tonight. After that first goal, particularly, you get the Wolfpack cheer. I think the guys, that really did energize the guys. So that really does help. So I think they really responded to that, and obviously got the second one. It's funny, we worked on power play last night for about 20 minutes, and it seems to have paid off.
So we got a 2-2 game going into the third period here. Probably going to be a really exciting one. What does Coach Gazilla tell them after the intermission right now?
I think the message now is I think what we're seeing is they loft the puck into the neutral zone as a zone exit on their side. We just got to be cognizant of that, make sure that we clog up the neutral zone so when they lofted it like that, we get it back in. So this period's all about getting in behind their defense. So you want to either loft it in just so it doesn't go past the end of the goal line for icing, or get to the center line and fire it in. So they're setting a bit of a trap. So they get a lot of guys in the neutral zone. If you come with speed, get it behind them, we'll get to the puck before they will. So it's really kind of neutralize their zone exit and get our exits into the zone.
Anything you're looking forward to here in the third period that you guys wanted to improve on?
Yeah, like scoring goals.
Yeah,
that's
that would definitely help.
Want to improve on.
Well, thank you for your time, and me and Drew will be back here in the third period. Thank you, Coach.
All right, Brett. Thank you, bud.
Second intermission time here from the Raleigh Iceplex. Drew Blevins alongside of Brett Galt. And Brett, all joking matters aside, there is a lot of truth when Jeff Wing says you need to improve on scoring. Because right now in a 2-2 hockey game, you're going to have a lot of open ice for the next minute 16. You got 4-on-4. You've got the faster team out there. You've got the better top line. But I think for me right now, what you've got to look to do is you've got to cut free of this defensive trap that the Charlotte 49ers are playing. And that's a tough thing to do. Chase Weirden has had an excellent game as a defensive forward. And you look really all 6 defensemen deep, the Niners have had an excellent defensive game.
Weirden's been all over the place. I mean, you've probably said his name 1,000 times during the first 2 periods. But you're right. I mean, if it wasn't for those 2 power plays, I don't know if the score would be 2-2 right now. I mean, the momentum that NC State has gotten right now is – it's going to be interesting to see if they can carry that into the 3rd period here.
Well, and if you look at the Charlotte 49ers, they really didn't make a lot of changes to the way they played the game. Resultingly, they don't score a lot. They only get another goal in that period. It looks like it's going to be a low-scoring affair, low-scoring final score. But if you are Brian Hapeman right now, what are you telling your squad?
Well, I'm telling them that don't get deflated, guys, because, I mean, they were up 2-0. We saw that NC State had all their heads down, and then all of a sudden the big burst by NC State gets in 2-2. I mean, I didn't think they played a terrible second period. I just think they got outworked there during that 1-minute stretch. So I'm just telling them to keep on playing their game, and eventually the goals will come.
When you look at the way Calvin Stone has played, this has been one of his best games of the semester. How critical is it for him to keep up his play into this 3rd period?
I mean, he's done a good job in the pregame. We talked about not letting the rebounds get off his pads or anything, and he's collected most of them, for the most part, I would say, or so he's set them to the side, and I think you just got to keep on doing that.
Well, it has certainly been an interesting hockey game, to say the least. It's certainly been an entertaining hockey game. And coming up after this break, we'll have puck drop in the 3rd period. This is NC State Hockey on PackTV. 3rd period puck drop is next. Third period time from the Iceplex here in Raleigh, North Carolina. Drew Blevins alongside of Brett Galt. One scoring note for you, it was not an embellishment penalty called on Phil Arnold. Instead, they got him for tripping, and I guess that makes a little more sense in the fact his leg sort of kicked out and maybe had something to do with Reed Farhat going down, but I think that we'll keep our editorialized opinion as it probably should have been a no call. Nonetheless, 20 fresh minutes of game clock and a minute 16 of 4-on-4 play. Charlotte will be attacking from right to left, NC State from left to right. State in their pink uniforms, all of which will be auctioned off at the conclusion of this game with proceeds going to breast cancer research. State wins the draw. Sam Banashevitz has it in neutral ice, curls back around his own defenseman Chris Wing, tries the snap pass, gets caught on the fresh ice, and he still curls with it. Over for Wing now. Comes up the left side, crossing the blue line. Wing just floats it into the zone. Goes back behind of Daniel Ritter, turns out of a stick check from Ryan Burke, back behind the cage. Charlotte takes over. Once again, the fresh ice catches Kyle Gelletley. Still a couple of puddles out there. For those of you who don't know, the puck will stick on wet spots on the fresh ice. All the way up for Usinger here. He's been anything but sticky. A lot of speed. Beats his man. Comes in. Shoots. Scores! Usinger puts it on the blocker's side over top of Calvin Stone. 3-2 49ers.
We talked about the speed of Usinger, and he just showed it off right there. Nifty move, and then just a beautiful shot. I mean, that was spectacular, honestly.
Silky smooth and the finish to boot. 19:17 to go, third period. And Zach Usinger puts it in the back of the net to give the Charlotte 49ers a third period lead.
Not exactly the start that NC State wanted after having all the momentum, and now all that momentum is now on Charlotte's side.
That is an even strength goal by definition in the 4-on-4. Charlotte right back on the attack in their offensive zone, but a rolling puck goes off of the stick of Thomas Gilmartin. Hasn't had the best game tonight. Turns it over. Here comes Jimenez. Dekes around Gilmartin, but couldn't get around the stick. Poked around. Jimenez comes back, grabs the puck. He's got it down in the slot. A chance in front. Rebound. Ritter goes flying as Jimenez ran right into him. And we're going to see a tripping penalty, and I believe this is actually going to go on Ryan Burke, who caused Jimenez to go flying into Daniel Ritter. And that is going to be the case exactly. NC State, 2 for 3 on the power play tonight, looking to make it 3 for 4. Tripping on Burke, 18:48 to go, third period.
This is a big opportunity here now with a 1-goal deficit. They've done pretty well on the power play the last 2 times, so we'll see if they can get another goal here on the fourth one.
Bieberdorf, Jimenez, Banashevitz out there. Charlotte wins the draw. Jimenez cuts down the clearing attempt, goes across for Banashevitz at the point. Rolls off into the left side corner, curls it around. Jimenez grabs the puck at the blue line, spanks it off the boards, right around Mike Aquila, pass across, good defensive stick by James Dinkler. Farhat holds the line, back behind the net for Bieberdorf. He's hit by his number opposite, Shane Clapper. Intercepted by Jimenez, back behind the net, toe drags around his man to the top. Banashevitz, wrist shot through traffic, a bouncer will ride, misses wide left. Jimenez gets the rebound, hangs onto it at the blue line, pass into open space. Good body positioning by Davis Hudson. He goes over for Jimenez. He'll hang on to it. Luis Jimenez drifts off to the right side corner. The point, Banashevitz in space, shoots one, stopped, rebound chance, in open space. Charlotte puts it in the left side corner. Aquila going after it. A bouncing puck at the blue line. Line held by Davis Hudson, not for long. Dinkler takes it, sends it all the way down. Minutes ago in the state power play. Banashevitz, headman pass for Luis Jimenez. Put it on a dime, too. Jimenez will set it up. Drifts off right side corner at the goal line. Hound dogged. Tries a backhand pass. It's cut down by Greg Driscoll. Tries to get it out, and so does. Just out of the reach of Will Bieberdorf. Driscoll follows the puck ahead of the blue line. Taken down. And offside is going to be called here. Probably fortunately, too, for Davis Hudson, who got his stick up and onto the skates of Greg Driscoll. 40 seconds to go. 17:28 in the period. 40 seconds on the power play.
So far, a good job of killing by the 49ers. Haven't really had any shots from the Wolfpack.
State wins the draw. Alfanzetti across the blue line with it. Turns at the left side corner, trying to spin a pass in toward the front. Couldn't get anything going. Alfonzetti back behind the net. Loses it to Aquila. Sent back ahead. We've got a penalty coming. NC State touches. And there goes the power play. This will be a slashing call. I believe they're going to get Tyler Alfonzetti for it. And indeed it is.
Probably the worst case scenario so far here for the Wolfpack. It's kind of the sloppy play that we saw there in the first period. It's continuing here in the third period after they had all the momentum after that second period.
Well, and here's the scarier thing is after these 21 seconds tick off on State's formal power play, 21 seconds now, 4-on-4 time, you're going to see a power play for the Charlotte 49ers. At the blue line, pass across, Miller shoots one! John Copelandberg gets a stick onto it and deflects it up and out of play. Copelandberg's family, friends listening in the great state of Nebraska, he informed me yesterday. So thank you so very much to listening all the way out in the Midwest. And also the Banishevitz Babes fan club listening in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Thanks so much for tuning in. Rest of the Banishevitz family spread out across Chicago and Wisconsin area as well. Rolls in on to Daniel Ritter, who covers, gets sprayed in the process. Right now it is the Zach Usinger goal that stands as the difference. 3-2, the Charlotte 49ers on top of the NC State Wolfpack. State is on the precipice of breaking back into the top 25 in the Southeast. They were 27th earlier this week. A loss here could be detrimental to that. McDonald takes it at the red line, backhands it all the way down. State now officially on the penalty kill. 90 seconds of an abbreviated power play for the Charlotte 49ers. Gettley up for Andrew Miller. Crosses the blue line with it. Head up and starts to look for a pass. All the way back up top. Held now up top for Gettley. Sends one through traffic. Stone with a save. The rebound caught in the slot. Stayed down on it. Here's a chance behind Calvin Stone. Spreads out on the goal line. Might have gotten a stick to it. Might not have. Charlotte. Miller goes across the way once again. A bouncing puck corralled on the wing. Back behind the net. Give and go play to the front. Arnold gets a whack at it. State throws it right back behind the net. Gil Martin corrals it. Tries to go back in front. McDonald got a stick to it and clears it all the way back down. 45 seconds to go in the power play for the Charlotte 49ers.
Somehow that puck didn't go in the net there, but very fortunate for the Wolfpack.
Hockey, similarly to football, in some aspects is a game of inches. Farhat takes the puck as soon as it's dumped in by the Niners and clears it back out to center. Kyle Gelletley over for Andrew Miller. Gelletley, another one of those Raleigh products, one of my former teammates. He's going to get it again. Comes in, entering the zone on the left side. Curls at the hash marks. Drops it back for Andrew Miller. Trading places, now back behind the net. Miller's going to get another pass back. It's deflected off of an NC State stick. To the point, Gelletley wipes it across on a D-to-D pass. Held and eventually cleared aside. NC State has killed the penalty. Back to five-a-side we go. Here's Bieberdorf. Drops it back for Ryan Kinney, entering the zone. Left side, backhand pass across the one-timer. Ritter was there. Into the corner they go. Kristoff absolutely rocked by Usinger. Couldn't get to the puck, though. Davis Hudson beat him there. Hudson flushed out, loses it. Here comes Eric White across the blue line. Into center, shoots one. Misses well wide on the glove side. Taken back by Greg Driscoll, just throwing it into open space. Hudson takes it to Valillo. Pinball, puck, and finally Bieberdorf has it. New line combination out as Bieberdorf is in the middle between Kristoff and Ryan Kinney. Kinney takes it now. Forward for Bieberdorf off of his backhand. White moves it back forward. Here goes Usinger. Beat his man again. Stick lift. And that may have prevented another opportunity from in tight. On the left side boards, Bieberdorf banks it up. Gets out to center, but the Niners take it. Greg Driscoll across the blue line. Walking up center. Bouncing puck. Has it on his string as he somehow managed to corral it into the corner before throwing it into open space. Ryan Kinney wins the race to it. Back to White, who wrists it into the zone. Charlotte has to touch up. Wing takes it over for Dan Weaver. Across the right side, slap shot blocked off by Shane Clapper. Clapper gives it right back over for a teammate, trying to get it across for Mike Aquila, who lost it. Far side boards. Wing holds the line, slamming it back down toward Banashevitz, who gets it. Right side corner, Banashevitz pass in front. Weaver, one-timer, cut down by Dinkler. Back the other way, here come the 49ers. Aquila across the left side wing, shoots one, easily steered into the corner by Calvin Stone. Aquila corrals his own rebound. 13:20 to go in the third period. 3-2 Niners. Slap shot from a long distance. Stone easily puts that into the corner. Wing breaks it out. Left side, Weaver turned over to Chase Weirden. Gives it across the way. Here's the chance, shooting one. Stone seals off the short side. Nowhere to shoot. Quickly back in the opposite direction. Banashevitz will chase it down. Winning the foot race to the puck is Kevin Hilla. Goes across now for Clapper. He'll go right back on his backhand for Hilla. For back behind the net, Hilla skates it across the defensive blue line. Stops on a dime and looks across for Clapper now. On the left side, cross-ice pass intercepted by Webb. Turn for Banashevitz. 2-on-2 as he crosses the line up center. Shoots. Scored! Sam Banashevitz! Seeing eye wrister 3-3!
What a beautiful shot that was by Banashevitz, too. Ritter had no chance of that one.
Oh, my stars! Sam Banashevitz! Grandma keeps the cookies on the top shelf, and Sam Banashevitz just found them. 3-3. Unbelievable.
Fantastic shot. What a game this has turned out to be.
12:41 to go in the third period. And a mad dash to the finish now. Goal comes 7:19 into the period. Sam Banashevitz scores it. His first goal of the game. He continues his point streak. He's got points in 5 straight now. State on the offensive attack again. Back behind of Daniel Ritter. Good move by Tyler Alfonzetti as he cuts into the right side corner with possession. Sidesteps his man, but the body was taken by the defending Phil Arnold. Arnold still driving on that puck and finally taken out. Thomas Gilmartin comes across center with it, now crossing the blue line, left side wing at the corner, spins his shot into Calvin Stone, who uses his stick to deflect it up and into the matching out of play. 12:02 to go in regulation.
And that was a big shot there by Banashevitz, too, because NC State really wasn't doing much before that, but now we got a tie match again, and it's going to be interesting to see how things play out here in the next 12:12, or 12:02, excuse me.
And I think Sam Banashevitz will tell you it's not necessarily going to be a highlight reel goal, but it was impactful. Quick shot off the draw, rebound chance! Stone finds it just before a flurry of players come in, and a bevy of humanity collects in the goal crease. Calvin Stone has struggled with rebound control at times this season. He's been pretty good here tonight. Off the draw, Charlotte holds the blue line. Coquelenberg going after it. Back behind the net, Charlotte had it, lost it, regaining possession as Bieberdorf turned it over, right in toward the goal crease. Chance at a rebound opportunity. Sam Reddy on his backhand. It's knocked off by Lensmeyer, who throws him over into the boards. Fans loving it. Charlotte bench not so much. Jimenez across center. Cuts right, loses the puck to Gelletley. Spins it back for Reddy off of his backhand. This could be icing. Lensmeyer's going to let it go to the goal line. Icing it is. And Lensmeyer gets into it with Sam Reddy. And he'll wisely skate away. Reddy was ready for a conflict with 3 NC State players. Regardless whether or not they're decked out in pink, still quite intimidating. Offensive zone draw coming. We'll remind you that we'll be right back here on YouTube tomorrow. Another radio broadcast is the Wake Forest Demon Deacons, undefeated at home, taking on the High Point Panthers tonight. We'll host the NC State Wolfpack. Wake Forest is ranked number 22 in the Southeast. Face-off won by Charlotte all the way down the ice. It's going to be icing again. 11:21 to go, third period, tied 3-3. And after this weekend, NC State will play the backyard brawl at PNC Arena. $5 donations taken at the door as NC State hosts Carolina Thursday, February 2nd at 7 p.m. Come out and enjoy both pep bands and a whole lot of fun at PNC. Banashevitz spins one off the draw. He's going to get his own rebound. Right side corner back behind the net. Jimenez peels off right side, throws it right into the midsection of Gelletley. Backhand chance for Banashevitz. Picked out of the air by Daniel Ritter. This might be the best sustained momentum for State this hockey game.
It definitely is. I mean, Banashevich has kind of taken over this hockey match as well. He was kind of quiet there in the first couple of periods, but you definitely see him take on his leadership role here in the third period.
Same top line out there. Face off, one back by Bieberdorf, touched along by far out as he goes onto the right side half wall for Jimenez. Shot, scored! Sam Banashevich sending the shot, and Will Bieberdorf tipped it 5-hole. The NC State Wolfpack have a 4-3 lead. And now the officials are going to discuss it.
Is it Luis that got it?
They're going to see whether or not that deflected off of the skate of Will Bieberdorf. That goal's going to count. Will Bieberdorf tips in the shot from Sam Banashevich, and it's 4-3.
And now if you're Charlotte, you're a little worried now because all the momentum is with the Wolfpack.
Quick shot in off the draw. Andrew Kristoff was looking for more. Ritter shuts him down. Absolutely stupendous.
Is this how you expected this hockey game to go after that
Not
first period?
at all. Not at all. But if there's any one thing we've learned this season, it's expect the unexpected. Davis Hudson off the draw, lays it down into the left side corner, intended for Andrew Kristoff, taken back by Gallagher, who lost it. Weird in space, loses it to a much speedier Andrew Kristoff. Back to the defense, and now up for Gallagher. Got to stick to it, but not with control. Kristoff wins the foot race to the puck, turns around, trying to get it up to the point, nearly turned it over. In fact, he might have. Ray and Hudson in a foot race for it. Hudson's going to win it. Back behind the net, Weirden is going to get the puck, though. Ray poked it free. At the blue line, lost it. Shane Clapper turns around now, wristed back into the zone. Chased down by Weirden. He's got it in the left side corner as he's turned off the puck. Ray gets it right back toward the front of the net. Nobody home for it. Aquila spins around. Mitchell Gallagher is going to get the puck in space. Weirden over to meet him. Nearly disrupted the play. Hilla had it and lost it. Taken right back here by Kevin Hilla, though. He skates across the blue line into the left side corner. Loses it to Owen Drugan. He just throws it out into space. Not necessarily surprised to see that from Owen Drugan, but might have had a man there. Quickly forward, backhanded toward the slot, nobody home. And right now, Charlotte a little bit discombobulated. Here comes Mitch Gallagher. Crossing the blue line, right side, spins his shot in off of his shin pad. Gallagher's going to get it back. High slot, deflected shot, rolls harmlessly by the net, into the corner. Spun right back behind the net, wide of Jack McDonald. John Kochlenberg holds the line, shoots one, a bouncer, swept by Tyler Alfonzetti, but he never got a stick to it. Kinney, rubbed out cleanly by Clapper. Hilla takes it, sends it ahead, and here comes Charlotte. Philip Arnold. Skating quickly forward, comes right up center, wrist shot, just misses wide, rebound chance, Calvin Stone back, rub around, did go in, no, it's on the goal post, Stone dives back and covers. Mere inches from being tied again, and the goalie's best friend comes up with the biggest save of the night.
I'm not sure how that one didn't go in, honestly. I thought he definitely had the wraparound wide open. I don't know how he didn't get it to go in there.
8:40 to go. Philip Arnold nearly had a seeing eye wrister that would have beat Calvin Stone Glove's side. Misses the post by about a quarter of an inch and nearly tucked back in. Top line stays out. Gelletley slap shot misses well wide. Blue line sealed. Long shot in from Burke, misses wide. Taken right back here by NC State. Wristed ahead, and here come the Wolfpack. Webb intended for Weaver, lost it. Into open space, State right on top of the puck again, but bevy of humanity wearing black and green on top of it. Webb does all he can just to backhand it into the zone. Gelletley going out wide now. Taken by Ryan Burke as he goes ahead for Arnold. Into space, touched along. Here comes Thomas Gilmartin. Sweeps it across, tried to get it to Andrew Miller. Perhaps one pass too many. Miller into the corner, seals off his man. Goes across, here's a chance. Aquila stopped by Calvin Stone in the butterfly. Back behind the net, pass toward the slot from Thomas Gilmartin, chopped down by Webb. Tries to get it out, Gelletley holds the line. Big stop by Calvin Stone again as he stretches out the leg pad in the low wrister. Gellatley can't stop this one. This could be icing against State, though. It reaches the goal line. No rest for the weary. Same line stays out for State. 7:39 to go in the third period. NC State leading 4-3. It's been one for the ages, to say the least.
Turned into a back-and-forth contest as well.
Face-off, one back by Eric White into the skates of Usinger. He's got it, shoots one, fanned on it. Chances it rolls back behind the net toward the slot area. Here's another shot from Usinger. Stop! Rebound! What a stop by Calvin Stone! Had a little bit of defensive help from Weaver there. Line held by the Charlotte 49ers. Collective group of players from both sides at the blue line. Charlotte had it roll out over the blue line. They dump it right back in, and back on the chase they go. Farhat takes it, pass intercepted. He tried to get it over for Banashevitz. Gellatley fumbles with it at the blue line, thrown into space. Jimenez, left side wing, cutting in, and he lost it. Driscoll spanks it back, intended for Ryan Burke, intercepted. Banashevitz tried to tuck it in short side. Rebound chance, squibs back behind the net. Shot back up the boards. Davis Hudson on his backhand, goes right back behind the net. Now back in front, Bieberdorf shoots one, kicked aside, and out of play by Dan Ritter. 6:46 to go, third period. NC State's difference maker comes from Will Bieberdorf. 4-3 the score. NC State, normally the red and white, sporting pink tonight on top of Charlotte.
And if you're NC State now, I think you keep on putting the pressure on them even though you're up a goal right now.
Face-off won by NC State, perhaps a little too well as it split the defenseman. Davis Hudson back to corral it. Gives it over for Sam Banashevitz. Just throws it into the zone. Dinkler, snap pass ahead as he tried to get it over for Weird and off of his stick. This is going to be icing. Really no harm, no foul there. You do have to go all the way back to the other end of the ice if you're the Charlotte 49ers and try to move it back 200 feet. I am surprised, though, that Brian Hapeman is not double shifting his top line right now. Ryan Linsmeyer quickly skates off the ice. He's headed back to the locker room. Doesn't look to be injured. Looks to be an equipment issue more so than anything. We'll keep an eye on that. Charlotte wins the draw. Weirden lets it go forward. Here comes Mike Aquila. Left side, Aquila out wide. Good defense by Davis Hudson. Good dispossession play. Now State can't quite clear it, though. Ray on the goal line. Tries to send a pass into the slot. It's cut down. Charlotte can't hold the line. Dinkler at center takes it. Wrists it into the zone. Cut down dangerously by Valillo, and that's going to force Calvin Stone to cover. Cross-corner dump-ins are tricky like that. Goaltenders often like those to be left alone and for the defenseman to chase it off the bounce as it goes into the corner, but this is going to be another offensive zone draw here. And out once again does come the top line. And right now, this is what is critical for the Charlotte 49ers. You've got to keep this line out there. They've been your best threat to score. Face-off one, Gil Martin goes right back to the slot. Miller shoots one, Calvin Stone! Waffle boards at his side. One of his best stops of the game so far, robbing Andrew Miller in the slot. State has it. Up the boards, Mitchell Gallagher loses it. Arnold has it up in his skates. He's going to get a little bit of help here from Kevin Hilla. Skated ahead at the blue line. State's going to get possession once again in their defensive zone. Just lifted out into space. Arnold across the way, too far for Gil Martin. He's going to chase it right back down. Gil Martin has become quite the fan favorite in Charlotte, North Carolina. At the Extreme Ice Center. Great atmosphere for college hockey. Kristoff takes the puck ahead for NC State, no further than his defensive blue line before he has to spin a pass back for wing. Gil Martin, yeoman's work, finishes off wing into the boards. Out at center, Gellatley going after the puck. Drugan there with a good defensive skate and cuts down the pass. 5 minutes to go in the third period. NC State 4, the Charlotte 49ers 3. Dumped right back behind the net. Gellatley going after it as he sidesteps Jack McDonald, and he'll bring it right up and ahead. Delayed penalty. Ritter to the bench. Gellatley gets it forward to one of his men. It's Andrew Miller. He'll head right in. Calvin Stone tries to poke check him. Jostled the puck free, but not enough to allow his team to touch it. To the top. Hilla slap shot. Blocked! So the extra man opportunity will yield nothing, but NC State is going to go shorthanded here. And the Charlotte 49ers, Brett Galt, are going to have an excellent opportunity to tie this hockey game.
Yeah, definitely a great opportunity here right now. We're going to have a big power play. This is probably the biggest of the match so far. and see if they can try to tie this one up here.
Penalty will go to Jack McDonald. 4:36 to go in the third period. And it has been nothing short of a tremendous hockey game. State off the draw, clears it all the way down. They'll kill a little bit of time. Brian Hapeman and Michael Hutton will certainly consider what to do with their goaltenders should they not score on this power play. Headman pass over for Zach Usinger. He's been the fastest man out here so far. Turns it back to Driscoll, shooting one, blocked down by a bevy of NC State players right in front of the net. Banishevitz tried to clear it out, but sends it out of play. Was deflected off of a Charlotte stick, so that means the faceoff does come out to neutral ice. It'll be Eric White to face off with Banishevitz. White had it in his skates. Banishevitz craftily digs it out and sends it all the way down. Minute 25 to go in the power play for the 49ers. Burke gives it back for Greg Driscoll. He's turning, still stuck in his defensive zone. Sidesteps his man. State with good pressure. Driscoll ahead of the blue line. Right up Broadway. He's being hooked by Banishevitz. Banishevitz is going to take the penalty, and we're going to go 5-on-3. A minute and 7 seconds of a two-man advantage for the Charlotte 49ers, and now it gets good. Sam Banishevitz is normally one of the most disciplined players on the ice. He's saying his stick was being held. His protests fall upon deaf ears. 5-on-3 power play for Charlotte. I'm surprised the coaching staff isn't going to use a timeout here. Face-off is won by the Niners. They win it forward. Reed Farrott backhands it along. Bouncing puck bounces off of Ryan Burke's stick and heads out to center. Geltley slows it down to Andrew Miller, who just does come across the blue line, and now the Niners will set things up. Across, one-timer from Arnold, kicked aside by Stone. Rebound chance, Miller lifts it too high over the crossbar. All he had to do was send it over the 6 inches of leg pad that were still upright, but he couldn't do it. Re-entry into the zone, Gil Martin shoots one. Calvin Stone takes it in the block, yes, crest. No rebound. 32 seconds of 5-on-3 time, 3:07 on the game clock.
Calvin Stone better get ready because there's going to be a lot of shots fired at him in the next.
And now the Charlotte 49ers will call their timeout. Well, Brett Galt, let's go ahead and recap what's gone on in this hockey game. It's been wild and wacky and everything an ACCHL game should be. Kyle Geltley opened things up on a slap shot. The goal 14:05 into the first period. It was a power play tally. 1-0 is where we ended the first period with, pardon me. And then Charlotte kept scoring. Another goal was scored by Sam Reddy, unassisted as he intercepted a pass in the neutral zone, came all the way down and scored an even strength goal, 8:13 in the second, and that's when things started looking dismal. NC State then went on the offensive attack for a minute and 3 seconds. Will Bieberdorf tipped in a bouncing rebound in front of the net, a power play goal, and then Reed Farrott with a seeing eye wrist shot tied things up a minute and 3 seconds later. Charlotte would start the scoring off in the third period. Zach Usinger cut himself free on a turnover and scored. Excellent pass from Kyle Geltley, mind you, to break things out. Sam Banishevitz with an excellent wrister from just inside the blue line tied it up. Will Bieberdorf has the go-ahead goal right now. 3:07 to go, third period. 32 seconds remain on the 5-on-3 opportunity for Charlotte. They trail by 1. A state win means they're going to Charlottesville in the ACCHL tournament. Held up top by Ryan Burke. Across. Here's the shot. Calvin Stone absolutely robbed him. He's stretched out of the goal line. Call the police. That's highway robbery from Calvin Stone. Unbelievable. Charlotte holding the line. 10 seconds. Shot. Rebound chance. Calvin Stone again. Unbelievable. Wow.
I said he was going to get a few shots shot at him. He's definitely done well to block them. Fantastic saves from Calvin Stone. And he's not letting any rebounds either.
Calvin Stone stretched arm and leg both sides into the split and robbed Andrew Miller with the backside of his goal paddle. Unbelievable. 5-on-3 is ended. 5-on-4 continues. Chance for the Niners. Quick shot. Stone stops him on the catching side shoulder. NC State gets it, clears it down. 2:25 to go. Ritter will set it up on a tee now for Kyle Gelletley, and he'll wait for the offense to set. Not a lot of time to waste here for the Charlotte 49ers. Quickly up and forward. Usinger turns into the right side corner, drops it back. Ryan Burke hanging on to it. Passes back. Here's a chance. Dinkler shoots one, deflected down low, nearly bounced in, but instead misses wide glove side. 19 seconds to go in the power play for Charlotte. Into the left side corner now. Controlling the puck, Miller goes to the top for Dinkler. Right back for Miller. He was robbed earlier in the sequence. Pass into the slot, cut down by the stick of Calvin Stone. Burke sends it into the corner, finished off. Chance, one-timer, fanned on by Aquila. Andrew Miller has it. Power play is over. Stayed back to 5-on-5. Banashevitz out of the box. Here he goes. Could be one-on-one. Dinkler is back. So is Burke. Banashevitz controlling. Shoots one. Fans on it. Skated right back opposite direction. Here comes Charlotte. This is Usinger. Steps in. Deeks toward the center. Banashevitz dispossesses him. Minute and 20 seconds to go. Aquila after the puck. Beats Alfanzetti there. We'll keep an eye on Dan Ritter. Into the corner boards, Andrew Miller catches it up in his skates. Banashevitz pulls it away from him. Here he comes up the left wing side. Knocked off the puck. Mike Ray there to grab it. Minute to go in regulation, but not before we're going to see a penalty called here. And this is going to be roughing on both Sam Banashevitz and Shane Clapper. Matching minors. And that was away from the puck, too, and State has just taken their best player and put him in the penalty box again. Charlotte does not have a timeout to use. NC State does, should they choose to use it. It'll be 4-on-4 to finish, which, if anything, favors Charlotte. As soon as they gain entry into the offensive zone, you'd expect Dan Ritter to head to the bench. Brett Galt, it's been a barn burner, to say the least.
It's been a fantastic game. Definitely, I don't think we both expected this after that first period, but this third period is definitely not disappointed.
Face-off is won by the Charlotte 49ers. Ahead of their defensive blue line, Gelletley. Backhand pass across the way, cut down by State, thrown back into center. 50 seconds to go in the third period. Dinkler wrists it in. Daniel Ritter still hanging out in the goal crease. There he goes. Charlotte with possession behind the net. Arnold gets it across. This is Usinger. Sends it back to Dinkler. Shot fanned on. Rebound chance. Intercepted. Bieberdorf. Headman. Kristoff. Empty net. Dispossessed by a back-checking Gelletley. Thrown into space. Andrew Miller with 30 seconds to go in regulation. Crosses the blue line. Miller wrapping it around. Looking to the top. One-timer. Fanned on. Chance to the empty net. It's wide. Foot race for icing. And it is won by Dinkler with 17 and a half seconds to go in regulation time. Everybody on edge. Gelletley, Arnold, Burke, Gilmartin, Miller. The Iron Five for the 49ers. Face-off won by Charlotte. Miller goes to the point. Burke back up top. Gelletley, he's got the best slap shot. Sends one. Blocked down. 10 seconds to go. Gelletley feeling the pressure. Shoots one. Deflects wide into the corner. 5 seconds to go. Held by Ryan Burke. He's tripped up. That is where the game is going to end. The NC State Wolfpack are going back to Charlottesville. Wait a second. 0.2 of a second are still on the clock. And this is going to be a penalty called on the NC State Wolfpack, I believe. 0.2 of a second have to be ticked off, but NC State is going to win this hockey game barring a minor act of God. Unbelievable. Penalty is going to go to Chris Wing. And the officials are going to wonder whether or not they should put more time on the clock. .2 of a second. Barely time at all. Arnold's going to take the draw. He's going to try to win it forward. He's overloaded the face-off position. 3 guys on one side. And the officials will converse here. Technically speaking, this is not time to get a shot off. NC State is going to go back to Charlottesville. Seeding will not be determined yet. 2 giant points for the Wolfpack. They're now tied for 3rd in the ACCHL, and they've got a doozy of a matchup tomorrow. 0.2 of a second have been added back onto the clock. That means 0.4 of a second remain, so things do get a little more interesting. Officially a 5-on-3 with Daniel Ritter on the bench. One last hurrah for the Niners. Face-off is a jam. NC State wins it. And Mike Gazzillo will take his merry band of Wolfpack members back to the ACCHL tournament.
I'd say player of the game to Calvin Stone, maybe. What do you say?
Absolutely unbelievable.
Hey, I mean, he was
Calvin Stone, Will
today.
Brett Galt, that might be one of the best hockey games we've seen in Raleigh in quite some time. And NC State comes out of the winning side of it. Fans didn't know if they were going to see a close home win again. They lost to the Duke Blue Devils 3-2 to end the first semester. But ever since coming back in January, the NC State Wolfpack have been riding high. Still their only loss this semester to the number 2 Liberty Flames. The Wolfpack get the job done by a final count of 4-3. Brett, your final thoughts?
Final thoughts is, first of all, I did not think that's how this game was going to end up going. NC State came out of the gates really cold. The first period was sloppy by both teams, with Charlotte with the 1-0 lead. Then we saw Charlotte take the 2-0 lead, and we saw an NC State team that looked deflated. Then all of a sudden we have 2-2, and then 3-2 Charlotte. And then, actually 3-2 was it State. And then just a fantastic job by State there towards the end. Somehow they held on 4-3, and now they're got Wake Forest tomorrow. Got to turn back around and go to Winston-Salem.
Well, it's been a long and tiring night, but we're not quite done yet. What a hockey game it was, and what a result it is for the home team. The NC State Wolfpack triumph over the Charlotte 49ers by a final count of 4-3. We hope you enjoyed it. Post-game coverage, player of the game interviews, and the winning coach, Mike Gazzillo, will join us all coming up. This is NC State Hockey on PackTV. Well, Brett Galt, NC State was busier than a one-legged man in a butt-kicking contest today, but somehow, some way, they find a way to grab the win. I mean, spectacular effort. Wasn't perfect. It was a gutsy, gritty win. This is the closest that Charlotte has played NC State and Raleigh in quite some time. And you want to know the legitimacy of a Charlotte hockey program right there. Look no further than the effort they gave out there tonight. Excellent preparation by Brian Haveman and crew. I thought Dan Ritter played a good game. I thought Charlotte played an excellent style of hockey game. But at the end of the day, the NC State Wolfpack, on a tipped-in goal from Will Bieberdorf, find that extra edge and ride momentum to the finish line. They win 4-3.
You honestly thought after that second period, actually the first period and into the second period, that Charlotte was going to come away from the Iceplex with a win. But somehow NC State turned around, the 2 quick goals in a span of a minute and 3, and then the Bieberdorf last goal there. Somehow, some way, they finished this, and now they'll be in Charlottesville for the ACC tournament.
I think what I'm just amazed at is the way this game turned, because State didn't play in the first period very well at all. And that's one of those things you're going to have to combat tomorrow at the Annex, the Lawrence Joel Veterans Memorial Coliseum Annex in Winston-Salem when you play Wake Forest. You're going to have a 60-minute effort. But credit where credit is due. That top line stepped up again for NC State. Reed Farad gets a goal, which is something we always talk about. You always want offense that doesn't come from the top line. That trend continues. But Will Bieberdorf, playing his first complete game since October the 1st, 2 goals, both of them critical. Can you talk about what he meant to the team?
I mean, like we said, the first period, there just looked like no chemistry. But then Bieberdorf, a leader of this team, along with Sam Banashevitz, he took his leadership role, not playing in a few months, and scores 2 huge goals to give NC State a big win. I mean, if they didn't have this one, it would have been tough the next 2 days because, well, Wake Forest is going to be a tough game, and then we have the backyard brawl on Thursday against a good Carolina team as well, and that's always fun to watch. But this is a huge win, puts them into the ACT tournament now, and now they could just look forward and keep on playing good hockey.
Well, let's go ahead and look at what is going on around the rest of the ACC. We can confirm that NC State will not be regular season ACCHL champions. Hard to believe that we're actually saying those words, but the one ACC loss that mattered to Wake Forest, 3-2, the game Sam Banashevitz went out, is ultimately going to be the key to NC State's undoing. The Virginia Cavaliers stretched it out. They made it stressful for their fans, but Kevin McCollum scored with a minute left in the hockey game to tie things up with George Washington, and then Dan Glavin scored the overtime winner, and the Wahoos 6-5 winners, and they'll be taking the regular season championship trophy and keeping it in Charlottesville. North Carolina Tar Heels trailing the College of Charleston 4-2 after 2 periods. That's a tough one for North Carolina as they're trying to build things back up, trying to make a run and get a better seed in the playoffs. We'll have more ACC news coming up for you shortly. Brett, we'll let you step aside and get off the headsets as we'll have our Player of the Game interviews coming up here shortly. Very excited to hear from both of these guys who played excellent hockey games. We'll have Calvin Stone and Will Bieberdorf coming up right after this. NC State winners tonight over Charlotte 4-3. Player interviews after this. Our PackTV players of the game are Will Bieberdorf and Calvin Stone. We'll talk to Will Bieberdorf here first. Will, this is your first full game back since the concussive injury back from the first semester. I know you told me off camera you're not able to put it into words what it feels like to be back, but how does it feel to be back?
I mean, it feels great. I love these guys that I play with, and I can't imagine anything better than to play with them on this game, win this game out here.
You look at the goal to open up the game. Just a little rebound play, which is something you're known for, hanging out in the center, and then the tip in there at the end. That's 2 goals. Huge, both of them. One to start, one to end. How does it feel to be out there to score those major goals for your team?
I mean, it feels great. Me and Sam always have this little competition that he usually wins. But we made a little bet before that I'm going to score more goals than him by the end of the season. So I got 2 tonight, and he only got, I think, 1. So I'm on pace.
What is it like to be reunited with that top line that's been so potent now for 2 years, to be back with Luis and Sam?
That's great. They're such easy players to play with. I mean, give them the puck and watch them make magic happen. It's like I don't have to do anything. But when I get out here and I manage to bury a goal, it's even sweeter.
With the 2 points tonight, you're going back to Charlottesville, back to the ACCHL tournament officially. Tomorrow you're going to play the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. If you beat them by more than a goal, you're going to be second place in the ACC, so long as you secure the win over Elon coming up down the stretch here. That's a huge game against Wake Forest tomorrow. That's a very good hockey team that got the better of you early on. You didn't play in that game. What's it going to be like to go out there and play a Demon Deacon team that's undefeated at home so far this year?
It's going to be sweet. They're definitely a team that we have on our radar. And when we played them last time, we were missing a few pieces. And the way our season started off this second half, we're definitely ready to go.
Well, congratulations on the win.
Thank you very much.
We'll let you transition the headset between yourself and the winning goaltender, Calvin Stone. We have seen a lot of saves that have made me scream, call the police, that's highway robbery. I don't know if there will ever be a save that was quite matched by what you did down here with about 2 minutes to go in that hockey game. When you've got Andrew Miller there, a guy who's been familiar to many North Carolina hockey players, stretched out practically in the splits. And did you get it with the backside of your goal paddle?
Oh, yeah. I just reached out my paddle, and it hit me right below my hand, right on the paddle. I got kind of lucky.
I mean, he was out there, wide open space, low slot, hanging out by the bottom of the face-off circle. When you saw the puck go to him and he had an open shot lane, what was your first thought?
Well, my first thought was I'm not over far enough, because I kind of slipped a little bit, and I was just reaching, hoping for the best, and I guess the best happened. So,
Calvin, this is one of those hockey games that you'll remember because of the impact it has. You're going to get the win that puts your team in the playoffs. But this was still a 2-0 hockey game where your squad was down. What was it like having to battle back consistently through the second period?
It honestly kind of reminded me of the Louisville game where we were down 5-1 going into the second period, and we just were hard at it and came back at it. And I kind of felt that way today, coming in 2-0, and I mean, we got 2 goals right off the bat in the second period, and it felt real good to be right back into it.
Well, this was a start to the season that was lackluster, to say the least, at 5-7-1 at the end of the semester. What's different about this team having to fight back from early adversity going into the playoff now?
Well, I guess now we know it's really coming down to it. We really got to step it up to get into the playoffs. We got a new addition to the team too, Davis Hudson. He's been real great, and everyone's working together real well, even with Sam back too. And it's just a better vibe this semester.
You got the Wake Forest Demon Deacons coming up tomorrow. This is a Demon Deacon team that has beaten you the last 2 times they've seen you, once in Winston-Salem to end last year in the regular season, and once here in the previous semester, 3-2. It's been a long time since any team, and I believe the last team to do it was Liberty, to beat you 3 times in a row. What does it mean to be going up against the Demon Deacons, who are ranked 22nd in the Southeast?
It's definitely going to be a tough game. I'm looking forward to it. I know Joey's going to be playing that game, and I know he's got it. He's wanting vengeance pretty much from the last game we had against him, and I think he's doing it. I got full support backing him up. I really got confidence in our whole team too that we can actually take care of it.
Calvin, thank you so much for your time. Best of luck the rest of the way.
No problem.
Those are our PackTV players of the game, Will Bieberdorf and Calvin Stone. Head coach Mike Gazzillo, the man behind the mustache, will join us after this short break. This is NC State Hockey on PackTV. Joined now by the man behind the mustache, head coach Mike Gazzillo, who is a winner once again. Winners 4 out of the last 5 for NC State as they take down the Charlotte 49ers. 4-3 here. Coach, you're into the playoffs once again, going to Charlottesville once more. So pursuit for the Admirals Cup still alive and well. But this was a hockey game that was hard-fought. One Charlotte always plays you close, so it seems, but not typically in Raleigh. They jumped out to a 2-0 lead this hockey game at one point. First period didn't seem to start out so well. What'd you tell your guys during that first intermission?
Typical NC State hockey game. We start slow, and I walked in and I said, did I happen to mention that they're ahead of us in the standings by a point? Did I happen to mention that, if we win out, we don't have to worry? Well, you can't win out if you don't win this one, right? So that's the gist of the conversation.
When you look at Will Bieberdorf being the guy to score the goal that starts the offense going, the guy who's been out for so long, who has fought so hard to get back, what was it like for you as a coach to see all that hard work to get back to play in this game come to fruition with a goal that starts off the scoring and eventually the goal that wins it?
Yeah, I mean, Will did some extra skating with me over the break, and he would contact me. I didn't contact him. Wanting to come out, wanting to skate, and just keep going. And so he definitely has put in the hard work. And I got to admit, when I realized it was him, I was extremely happy for him. I know how much he wants to be, on the bench. I know how much he wants to be on the ice, and he wants to contribute, and he loves playing with Sam and Luis. And I was the smile on all their faces when he scored, and then when guys realized it was him. That was worth the picture.
When you look at this team having a couple of comeback wins under their belt now, Louisville down 5-1 at the end of the first, 2-0 here. This is a team that has a lot of fight left in them, even despite what was a rough start. What is it like having been forged in the fires of adversity and now to watch this team be able to fight even into the last 15-10 minutes of a hockey game to grab wins?
I think they always play like that. The problem was at the beginning, we just didn't have depth. And you need that. And again, that's not taking shots at some of the other guys that were getting some ice time. It's just a reality. You need your depth and you need some of your key guys back. But again, when we were losing games, for the most part, we were in them, lose by a goal or two. But so the guys have always felt that way and played that way. And, my cardiologist loves these guys. She's on retainer and loves these guys. So it's a little nerve-wracking at times, but I got to say it is fun.
This is a huge win for the program, but certainly there's still work left to be done. You've got Wake Forest tomorrow. And the stats on Wake Forest, they're undefeated at home. Right now, they're 22nd in the Southeast. They're a team that has beaten you the last 2 times they've seen you, dating back even to last year where they ended the perfect ACC run. This is a formidable Demon Deacon team that you get a chance to see tomorrow for the matinee. What are your thoughts going in to face Old Gold and Black?
You know all the facts that I don't care to hear. Look, we just go. It's one game at a time, right? Again, you can't win out if you don't win the game. So, I know they're a good team, and I know it's a home game for them, and I know they're excited. And to be honest with you, I'm real happy for their program. At the beginning, they weren't really much of a team, and there was question about if they were going to be able to, stay involved in the ACC and whatnot. And they've certainly shown that they are, and Dave's doing a great job with them, and it's good. It's good for like the Carolina rivalry and stuff. So there's no doubt they'll be ready to go, but our guys will be ready to go. So I think it's going to be a great game. I'm looking forward to it.
How much of the rest of the season for you guys is avoiding the storyline of a comeback team, a team that had adversity early on, and how much is it about just playing the next game that's in front of you?
To me, it's none of that stuff matters. That's all stuff that gets conjured up amongst, other people. The fake news and the mainstream media people. But, all kidding aside, it's for us, it's just one game at a time. It's one period at a time, one game at a time, and we move on to the next one. As far as all the other stuff, it's there. It's just you can't really think about it. It's just you can't change history, so you just have to kind of forge on and just change the outcome of the next game that you're going against.
And finally, Coach, you're going back to the Admirals Cup playoff tournament in Charlottesville, Virginia, February 17th, 18th, and 19th. That's not necessarily the surprise, but it is going to be a different look. You're not going to be the top seed as Virginia secures an overtime win over George Washington. So they take the points. They're going to take the regular season championship trophy. Is there any less pressure going into this tournament now that you're not going to be the regular season champion, just focusing on winning 3 straight games to hopefully bring an Admirals Cup back to Raleigh?
I mean, honestly, not for me. It's the season will end, and then you have a season that's a weekend, basically, right? And you just got to win. So it doesn't matter where you're seated. It doesn't matter who you're playing. It just matters how you play. And the teams that play better or, get some breaks or some bounces are going to be the teams that win. So, I never really, if we came in first, I never really felt pressure on the first game any more than I felt pressure on the last game. It's just, you just go out, whoever we're playing, we play, and let's go.
Coach, thanks so much for your time. Congratulations on the win, and we will see you tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you.
Well, coming up after this break, Brett Galt returns with me, and we'll wrap things up from the Iceplex here in Raleigh, NC State 4, the Charlotte 49ers 3. Back to wrap it all up after this. For the final time, we welcome you back to the Iceplex, Raleigh, North Carolina. Drew Blevins alongside of Brett Galt. And Brett, barn burner of a hockey game, exciting, had a little bit of everything. Your final thoughts?
Definitely did not think that it was going to turn out that way. I thought State came out kind of sloppy. I mean, both teams came out sloppy there. Charlotte got the early 2-0 lead. Then they came storming back in a minute 3, had 2 power play goals, and then Charlotte goes back up, and then 2 unanswered from NC State. Great goal by Beaverdorf there towards the end, and then just fantastic finish.
You know, it was one of those games where it seemed like slow and steady won the race. I mean, NC State, as Coach Gazzillo said, they don't start out fast. And, you know, that's sort of the quote-unquote weak spot of this team. Calvin Stone had a couple of critical saves in the first period, played an excellent hockey game. Beaverdorf starts and ends the scoring with the opening goal and the game winner. I think what just amazes me is the way this team is consistently resilient. And it's one of those things that can't be taught. That's something that you have to go out and discover for yourself. And it's the term I use, intestinal fortitude, that this team showed today. They went down in the third period, and that's something that's going to be overlooked. And the fact they were able to come back and score a pair of goals relatively quickly and give their team the lead, just simply spectacular. Wake Forest tomorrow. You can catch us right here on the YouTube channel. Nick Sinopoli will be in your shoes. Brett, this might be the final hockey game that I get to call with you by my side. Of course, you'll be the color reporter downstairs, the between-the-glass guy for the Carolina game at PNC, so we're looking forward to seeing you there. But it has been an honor and a pleasure to be able to work with such a young talent as yourself. First year here at PackTV and already on the hockey broadcast, so thanks so much for all the good memories.
It's been a fun time. I haven't really been very knowledgeable about hockey, but you've definitely helped me with that. And it's just been a fun time.
Certainly has been. Well, signing off for the rest of our crew, our director Ethan Berry and Madison Bell, and all of our technical assisting staff, Austin Hogston and Rachel Queen. We thank you so very much for joining us. Nick Sinopoli and I will be back on the air right here tomorrow. We'll be on air at 3:45 for a 4 p.m. puck drop. It's the NC State Wolfpack take on the number 22 Wake Forest Demon Deacons. Signing off for the rest of the crew, I'm Drew Blevins. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. This has been a production of PackTV, bringing you into the pack. Have a wonderful evening.
Yes.